Let me see, I keep driving faster, going through the roof. I wanna run a delicatessen love that don't make me a proof. Action camera, lipstick lights, I fit in Mercedes tights. No one knows I play guitar, wearing her red bra. Is it true, you like my curls? Do you think we look like girls? Would it cause a sexual block if you saw our great big socks? Let me see, I keep driving faster, going through the roof. I wanna run a delicatessen love that don't make me a proof. Action camera, lipstick lights, I fit in Mercedes tights. No one knows I play guitar, wearing her red bra. Is it true, you like my curls? Do you think we look like girls? Would it cause a sexual block if you saw our great big socks?
I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when it's complicated. And though I know you can appreciate it, I'm only happy when it rains. You know I love it when the news is bad, and why it feels so good to feel so sad. I'm only happy when it rains. Pour your misery down. Pour your misery
can see the future, 'cause I repeat the same routine. I think I used to have a purpose, then again that might have been a dream. I think I used to have a voice, now I never make a sound. I just do what I've been told, I really don't want them to come around. Oh no, every day is exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. There is no love here and there is no pain. Every day is exactly the same. I can feel their eyes are watching, in case I lose myself again. Sometimes I think I'm happy here, sometimes yet I still pretend. I can't remember how this got started, oh, but I can tell you exactly how it will end. Every day is exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. There is no love here and there is no pain. Every day is exactly the same. I'm writing on a little piece of paper, I'm hoping someday you might find. Well, I'll hide it behind something they won't look behind. I am still inside, a little bit comes bleeding through. I wish this could have been any other way, but I just don't know, I don't know what else I can do. Every day is exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. There is no love here and there is no pain. Every day is exactly the same. Exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. Every day is exactly the same. There is no pain. There is no love here and there is no pain. Every day is exactly the same.
Welcome, my friends, to XboxEra. If you're new here, let me fill you in. XboxEra is a platform for the Xbox community with best-in-class forums, a kick-ass Discord server, and of course, XboxEra.com, your destination for the best news, reviews, and features, all focused on your favourite platform, Xbox. It's every Xbox fan's gateway to the best of XboxEra. Our incredible podcasts listened to in over 50 countries worldwide, our in-depth reviews, our own merch store for the coolest in gaming threads, and of course Day One, where you can track, rate and discuss your favourite games on Xbox Game Pass. We're a small, agile and independent publication, and importantly, we're completely funded by you. If you value having a publication truly focused on your preferred place to play, you can become one of the cool kids by supporting us directly via Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. You get cool swag and awesome perks, and we get to keep doing what we do. Become a part of the best Xbox community on the internet and help us grow even larger. Thank you for your support. XboxEra is only made possible by the support of an amazing community, and in particular our legendary and growing army of Patreon supporters. Our executive producers, Top, The Scarecrow 121, Peter B, Not Jack, Mohammed Sherez, Kevin S, Korkenstein, Jordan White, Jordan Andow, Frankie C, Terran H, and Britt. our amazingly generous grand benefactors who take their support and dedication to Xbox Era to another level. Critic56, an assassin. And then there's our boss, our leader, our shining light in times of darkness, the one and only Xbox Era CEO, Torn Raptor. You guys are all fucking awesome. If you enjoy the content Xbox Era produce and want more of it, and you're not a patron, consider heading over to patreon.com/Xbox Era, pledge your support, and get cool swag in return. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 248 of the Xbox Era podcast. We're here to discuss the latest in gaming from across the industry, but overall, we're focused on that platform that still exists right now, called Xbox. Big shout out to all our MVPs, executive producers, but especially our grand benefactors, Critic56 and Assassin, and of course, our wonderful CEO, Torn Raptor. I'm joined as per usual by Special Nick.
What's going on?
And the lovely reviews editor and top critic, Jesse Norris.
Hello.
Hello, lads. Here we are again. Saturday night. Everything's calm. Everyone's fine. Everyone's absolutely lovely. There's no emotion out there. There's like a sea of raging anger. There's just everyone's chill. Everyone's nice and happy.
I have
right?
not been spending the majority of my week moderating the forums. No.
Yeah. There's okay. We haven't done this in a couple of weeks because we've had guests. I want to talk about what we've been playing. Let's do that.
If you look at my list,
drama.
it's the longest I've ever had.
You have been playing a silly number of games. Congratulations. Yeah, let's dive into that. What have we been playing? Let's start with Nick. What have you been playing, Nick?
Yeah, we forgot to talk about this last week.
We did.
But
We just dived into
something.
stuff.
Yeah, something I feel all three of us have been playing is Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which shadow dropped after the Dev Direct.
Yep.
I've never played Ninja Gaiden 2. I had never played it before. I played
Banging,
Ninja Gaiden Black on OG Xbox, and I had played the original arcade Ninja Gaiden, which is still amazing.
I hit the wrong button. Boop. There we go.
Yeah.
My
so
cat
this
is
was my
begging me
first
for
time.
dinner. I apologize.
Yeah.
I'll be right
This
back.
was my first time playing Ninja Gaiden 2. I bought it on 360 because that stupid game never goes on sale. So I thought I'd do some funny thing where I buy Ninja Gaiden 2 thinking, well, once I buy it, then it will go on sale. That never happened.
Oh.
I've also since bought the DLC for Ninja Gaiden 2 because I heard that 2 Black is missing a lot of stuff, including that DLC.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. My God, that game is hard as balls.
Yeah,
Really?
doesn't mess
It's fun.
around.
Ninja Gaiden 2, the one you always wanted on sale, way harder.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like
I would
way
say so.
more enemies. It's a lot harder. Like the Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, I think, is the better mass market game.
Yes, it's built off Sigma, isn't it?
Yeah,
2
because
Black.
Sigma's already ported to everything. So getting 2 Black
Yes.
to everything just makes way more sense for Sigma. The purists will like the original. It's got a couple more weapons, I think a couple boss fights, and way more enemies overall in a lot of scenarios. Yes, it's way harder. I honestly do
God.
think that for the average consumer, this is the better game to have brought over.
Like this boss that's on camera right now, God, this was a bastard of a fight. Like,
Yeah, he almost killed me.
oh my God, he did kill me once or twice.
I died once through the first 7 chapters, and I was like, I died a lot more in 2.
I died 3 times so far. It's just, I mean, I prefer this to the Souls, the clunky, slow Souls-like
Well, the
stuff.
biggest
I like-
difference, you do so much more damage to bosses. Like, if you get a couple of good combos and half their bar is gone, it's crazy.
Yeah. But if they catch you, you are fucked.
Yeah.
Like in this, oh, I'm just gonna, oh, off your health just goes. It is brutal. Oh man, I love this.
I'm not good at this game. I'm not good at this game yet. Like I'm still figuring out combos and how to fight properly and everything. But I do miss these hack and slash games. I hate the prevalence of these clunky, slow Souls games.
You might like Solstice. It has souls in the name. It is much more one of these or Devil May Cry-ish. It's not. There's a fair amount of still just action games. The Souls-like combat is, I think, the thing you guys don't like. So even if someone says it is a Souls game, like even Sekiro doesn't really play like a Souls game. It's super fast and way more parry focused, kind of like there's a lot of different ones. Even like Liza P, I think, is in the faster variety. The big thing with this one was the no lock on camera. Like the Souls feel is that lock on camera, and instead in its place, this game has one of the worst cameras of all time.
Oh my god!
The thing is,
this is not good.
I'm so used to the camera,
but it still sucks.
Games that I'm fine with it, and it's just not an issue.
No,
I know it's bad, but I'm also fine with it. I don't know.
It is terrible to the point where I would not go above an 8 for this because
it's a bad camera.
This camera is bad to the point where it fights you.
Yes,
like
it wants control. Yeah, so I will try and move it, and it will try to wrench control from me nonstop. I was looking to do a review, but then other stuff came in, so I didn't get to it yet.
Yeah, like you got to remember, this is a game from 2008.
Yes.
So the camera is very much 2008.
I would bet money, good money, that the camera in Ninja Gaiden 4 will probably be somewhere near this.
It'll be much better. Because you got to remember, if you think about it logically, Devil May Cry and God of War still ruled the roost in the action space at this time, and they had their fixed cameras. Ninja Gaiden 2, because I can't remember Black's was fixed as well, wasn't it? That was like fully fixed.
It was Black was you were constantly. It wasn't fixed. You were constantly pressing a button to get it facing forward.
Yeah, you would wherever you're facing, you would be hitting right trigger to be like, and move the camera.
So Ninja Gaiden was this weird in between where it was like not quite fixed, but not quite full.
Yeah, it didn't really move well with you, and so you had to constantly move it yourself.
I've never understood the cutscenes because it's like I'm in the city, and I need to get up to the top of that building, but let me climb up to this other building, and then jump off and go down to the bottom. And then climb.
You should never worry about the lore in these games. It's really dumb and bad. It's all about looking cool, which it does well.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make any sense.
I've been skipping all the cutscenes.
Yeah, I don't. Perfectly fine in this series. I have no problem with that.
Kill bad guys.
If you were going to review it, you can't. But otherwise, fine if you're just playing.
Yeah, but I am enjoying the game as hard as it is. I am enjoying the game. It's a cool ass game.
Fuck the werewolves with swords in their mouths.
They're not werewolves, they're wolves.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Werewolves would stand up.
Yeah. I have to ask, Ninja Gaiden wise, just while we're on that topic, I can't remember, and Jesse, you might remember this because you're like kind of like a weird library of video game knowledge. I remember playing, and I can't remember if it was 2 or 1, but there was like a big, I think it maybe it was 1. There was a big spirally dinosaur, and you fight it. I think it's the very last boss. And you fight it because it comes to life, and you kill it. And I remember it being one of the hardest boss fights I've ever had in my life. And I'm pretty sure it was Black, the original. And then I was like, I've done. And then like a bit of blood drops off the edge of your sword. Like I've spent everything. I've used all my elixirs and bonuses, and there's a little bit of blood. And I was like, don't do this. And I just watched it go down the spiral and land, and it brought it back to life. Oh, round 2 of the boss. And I was just like, fuck you, I've got nothing left. And I still did it. But I think those days are long behind me. Like I'm finding myself so much slower now. Like I'm like, oh god, I need to blink. It's like playing Smash Brothers again. Like multiplayer Smash. I'm like, oh. But yeah.
Using the bow and arrow is not enjoyable in this game.
No, it's only good if you get it close to them for the auto lock on. Otherwise, it's pretty trash.
I thought they changed it, and I don't know if it was like it in the original Ninja Gaiden 2. But
no,
I don't
think
you could equip it instead of the shurikens. And and just press
No.
B, and he would just hover in the air and go choo-choo, like auto aim.
It's a dedicated.
But now it's a
button.
dedicated. I'm like, was it like that? Am I confused? Someone help me out in the chat. Was I wrong about this?
I'm pretty sure
swear that needs to be a
they
thing.
have changed the way it all works in Sigma.
Don't know if I like
I'm
it.
watching Jesse struggle to go upstairs here.
Yeah, it's just the fucking camera kills me. I like
It is
everything about the
worst
game
camera.
except the camera, which is so bad that it definitely
But it should be good for 4. It
Yeah,
should,
no,
like
I
Ninja
Platinum
Gaiden
knows.
4 should be very good.
yeah, Platinum knows cameras.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Itagaki will sneak in and be like, delete
This-
camera.
This is still from an era of games where there was an element of cheapness to make the game harder. Because let's be real, some of this is a bit cheap.
Oh, very.
Oh yeah, the guys.
Um,
Oh, I've got one leg. Let me grab you. Explosive
and
on
blow
your
you up.
chest, and
Yeah.
you've lost 3/4 of your health.
There's a lot of stuff that feels like, oh yeah, I should have been able to block this or get around this, but the game's like, nah, fuck you. You're just gonna die anyway because this game is hard. That's our thing.
Yeah.
Still really like it though.
Mhm.
It's a good game, and that's the main. I believe that's the main thing I've been playing. I'm trying to remember if there was something else that
Well,
I
we
Played a
did.
little, you played a little
Yesterday.
something yesterday.
Oh yes. Yesterday I also played Sea of Thieves for the first time ever.
in
Played
the
for a
new
couple of
inaugural
hours.
episode of the Patreon exclusive show. Thanks, I hate it. Do you still hate it, Nick?
Yeah, I don't love it.
He's a gameplay
it's
first guy,
funny.
and the gameplay in Sea of Thieves has always been
It's not
its
great.
weakest point.
Yeah, it's not great.
The nautical
Like,
stuff's the best of it, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So it's funny. Like last night, I was playing Rocket League with Carlos and Jason, and I said to Carlos, "Hey," and the funny thing is, Carlos last night was playing Sea of Thieves, but it says 2023 edition when he plays. How is that
Yeah,
possible?
they did a relaunch to
Yeah,
reset
but right
the
now it says
MSRP.
2024 edition.
Oh,
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. 2024 is now.
You got
But
me?
when he plays, and I watch his profile, it says 2023 edition. I'm like, how's that possible?
Weird bug.
But I said to him, I said, "Hey, Carlos, guess what I played today?" I said, "I played Sea of Thieves." He's like, "Bullshit." It's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, I'm serious. I was playing Sea of Thieves. He's like, "I've been asking you for 3 years to play Sea of Thieves." I'm like, "Yeah, but we did it. It's a show that we're doing where one of the boys plays something they don't want to play and that they hate." He's like, "I don't believe you." I'm like, "Jason was watching." I'm like, "Ask Jason." Jason's like, "Yeah, man, he was playing." Yeah, so we played
it's
for
okay,
like
Carlos.
2 hours. Yeah, we played for like 2 hours yesterday.
It was fun.
Yes, he did say that, like, when I told him some of the experiences, and I said to him, I said, they didn't let me do the tutorial first. He's like, yeah, you'd probably need to do the tutorial first, and
Meh.
learn the ropes
That's like
and
fun.
everything that's
You
going
should
on.
have done that before stream time.
Yeah.
I've been very busy.
Well.
I don't have time to do tutorials of games. I have
John
no
likes
interest in
slamming us
playing.
into rocks and stuff while captaining. So
Yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah, again, my thing with Sea of Thieves is that I can understand why it's a popular game, or was a popular game. I can understand why people have a lot of fun with it. It's extremely difficult for me to enjoy a game that feels as stiff and yuck as this one does.
Yeah,
it is
I
incredibly
understand.
basic combat. Like they're not trying to reinvent anything. It's that very Unreal Engine first person.
Yeah, because clearly that's not
Unreal
the
Engine
point of this
4.
game.
Yeah.
So that obviously it's a bit of an afterthought for Rare. Well, not that Rare's really working on this game much anymore. But yeah, I probably won't be playing it again.
Okay.
It's-
Okay. What are we going to do for the next episode of Thanks I Hate It? Are we going to go into your
Fortnite.
world?
Yeah,
Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Fork
Hey,
knife.
you'll enjoy Fortnite because it's a
I'll
third-person
just shoot
shooter
stuff,
from
yeah?
Epic.
All
It's a
right.
third-person shooter from Epic.
Yeah, controls all right.
No stress.
Okay.
Oh, controls amazing.
Controls all right.
Hello. And John's
words.
coming in at a beautiful time. Like,
A beautiful time.
yeah, John's coming into Fortnite at a great time because the game's been just tweaked and fine-tuned so much that there's so many movement options. Like, if you had jumped into Fortnite, if we were doing a show like this in 2020, you would have been like, what the fuck is this shit? But now, like, Fortnite is so full of movement options and traversal options and this and that and the other, and we can play no build, so you don't even have to worry about building.
It would
just
only
okay,
ever be no build.
I'm more excited now.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't wait. But yes, so Sea of Thieves.
Fair enough. Final verdict. I have been playing the same things as you. I have been playing Snow Riders because it's lots of fun.
Very good. Very good.
I need to
game.
start that. I need to start that.
It is, especially if you can get in, and I think we'll have to do a community Patreon night with 7 folks in a lobby because it's just funny. So we'll chat some stuff and we'll just play. Maybe tomorrow night if I'm around. I think I can be. But mostly this week I've been playing Microsoft Publisher. No, not Publisher. I don't mean Publisher. The other one, PowerPoint. I've been playing Microsoft PowerPoint this week. I haven't enjoyed it, but I feel like I'm actually moderately good at it now, thanks to like progressive exposure. Jesse, seeing as your list is infinitely long, I know normally, I'm just preempting here.
Mm-hmm.
Normally you go into a fair amount of detail.
No, I'll choose one.
In all of them. Pick one and then talk about the rest. But I'm just saying for brevity's
I will
sake.
show what we've had this week, which is Orcs Must Die Death Trap. If you like Orcs Must Die, this is a more streamlined version with some like randomization roguelike stuff for each run. Very fun.
On Game Pass?
They're all on Game Pass except for Tales of Iron 2 up there from Deadly Headley. Ran like shit at launch and before launch, and I dinged it for that. Runs a lot better now. They just patched it, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
Sniper Elite Resistance is an expand-alone for Sniper Elite 5. It's fine. It's not great. The missions aren't nearly as compelling, but the gameplay and the actual level structure and everything, A-okay.
It's an expand-alone.
It's pretty much just built directly off of Sniper Elite 5 by a second team and sold at full price. It's new.
Is it short?
Yeah, it's 7 new levels, so you can beat it in a night or two pretty easy, but that's kind of standard for Sniper Elite. But they've got a lot of replay in what you can go back.
Here is some more comfort food that is shooting Nazis
here is
in the balls.
We got another Game Pass deal. We've got another team working on it where the main team's on Atom Fall for March, but hey, we'll put this out and people like it. The main thing I'd like to talk about would be Eternal Strands, which I think has been criminally underrated by critics. I have actually.
It looks good.
It's really goddamn fun. I think I beat it in about 25 hours, but I did more grinding than was necessary because I was just having fun, and it was like a podcast game for me because I had over a month for it on review, which is kind of crazy. It is a exploration and crafting focused third-person action game. The crafting is not like a survivally thing. It's literally just as you kill stuff, Monster Hunter style, it will drop parts. And those parts are what you use to upgrade your gear. That is the leveling system. So it's part Zelda climbing and magic mechanics. It's part Monster Hunter focus on killing enormous bosses with a heavy dose of physics and like kinetic physics.
You've mentioned this in the past
thermophysics.
Because you've had this for so long to review.
Yes, because they had a demo out, so I was able to talk about it a little bit. So Eternal Strands is awesome. The full game, now that it is finally out this week, because the demo was out a little before that. Really goddamn good. I have a full review if you want to know more about it directly without boring everyone too much. It's really fun. Climb anywhere. Climb on. I should find this freaking clip. Just when you're fighting the bosses.
I can see you. You're climbing.
Yeah. So when you're fighting the bosses is like the main thing you end up working towards in each area. There are always one in each area. And then it's very Shadow Colossus. Climb on them, take out limbs, do that type of stuff. And if you kill something while it's frozen, you get higher chance of rare this. If you kill something after it's been set on fire and burned, higher chance of rare this. That's kind of the what you're going for to get your different types of gear to get through the whole campaign. It's a lot of fun. Really good
Sounds
combat.
like Crackdown almost.
Not at all to play, but yes, I guess.
No, I'm talking about how with Crackdown, if you wanted to build up your jumping, you do this. If you wanted to build up your accuracy with a gun, then try and shoot them from far away or up on top of buildings.
No skill.
Reminds me of Dauntless. Looks like
Yeah,
Dauntless. a little bit.
Dauntless was going for that monster hunting thing. And the other game that I get to say I have, and when it's coming, review-wise, is Avowed. I've got about 30 hours into it now. I got it on.
Just do a preview.
Yeah, I wish. I got it on Wednesday midday, and I've put 29 and a half hours in so far. So you can get a review on February 13th at 9 a.m., I believe, my time, US Eastern. So along with 9 trillion other people.
Yeah, there's been a lot on XboxEra.com this week.
We had our
all
Doom
funded.
preview. That's why I wore that.
Yeah, all funded by you guys watching, our Patreon community and our community in general. We also had Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter from Deadly Headley. It was his first review. He did an excellent job, so much so that Xbox Era is in the accolades banner art that the developers released. We also had, I think, if memory serves, a review for Citizen Sleeper 2, Starboard Vector from Ursel, which dropped, I want to say, 2 days ago. Yep. We had Robo Beat Shoot to the Rhythm, a rhythm shooting game drop from Fairy Empire, along with Dream Core, which is a liminal spaces type game, as well as a GameSir G7 HE Xbox Wide controller review.
That's literally right there. $40 and one of the best controllers I've used. Kind of ridiculous.
In short, brilliant stuff from all of the team.
Why would our reviews matter more than ever, John?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, put on your Mega Boost t-shirts because we got an email from the lovely folks at OpenCritic, who it's worth mentioning out loud now. They were owned by these people, and these people.
Did you say Metacritic or OpenCritic?
You said
OpenCritic. Yeah,
okay.
I did say OpenCritic. They were owned by these people. These people kind of just stopped replying and doing anything, and then Valnet bought OpenCritic, and it does seem like the team there are working hard to actually put some good changes in place. Now, I would like to say that I think this is in part fueled by the rise of a new competitor, Critic DB, from some of the guys that I think had worked on OpenCritic in the past. I think TechRaptor's CEO is leading the charge with Critic DB. So they've launched this week. They're live now. We will be on there too. We're just working out some kinks with our API that's been built to scrape reviews. But yeah, we got a lovely email from the OpenCritic fellas that praised us for our dedication and the quality of our work. And we've been awarded with the top critic status. So
and this guy give Eternal Strands a 4 out of 10.
4?
40 out of 100 from Alif Ashari of Kakucho Pure.
Okay. But yeah, that's good news. And
janky and clunky mechanics. Uh-oh.
Wow.
That's not a good sign.
I would say congrats to the whole team, but it does have to be said, and I'm sure the community would agree, particularly congrats to Jesse for all of his crazy hard work. Xbox Era as an outlet has now reviewed, I think we're close to 740 titles.
737.
In our 6 years or so of existing, we've now reviewed more games than Windows Central. Which is interesting because they've been around far longer than
They're
us.
an actual company that makes money and pays people, though.
I know they have to pick and choose. They haven't got the.
Sadly, reviews really don't make money. If you like our reviews, they are paid for by our patrons, without whom we would not be able to do them. I've done
true story.
There's multiple reasons why I've done 310 reviews now in like 3 or 4 years. Not all of them happy, but yeah, patrons are number one.
Yeah. Speaking of our wonderful patrons and our community being brilliant, a couple of housekeeping pieces before we move on to some super chats that are sitting idly in the chat wanting to be read. Firstly, please do hit that like button if you're viewing us live right now. We do appreciate the YouTube algorithm food. That is very, very nice of you. And if you are interested in supporting our fledgling publication, please do consider subscribing to us and supporting us directly on Patreon. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. I know everybody's got a Patreon now. Everybody wants your support.
Mm-hmm. We want it more.
But I will say this. I'm not gonna disparage others, but I think if you look at our Patreon offerings, we offer more in terms of loot and swag and actual physical stuff that you get back. We're constantly giving stuff away if you're a Patreon member and you're in that group, and we're doing more shows and we do more reviews. So, you know, just help us become our best selves. Before
so we can
get to the
afford
party.
John going on trips a bunch this year.
Hey, yeah, I might have to go on.
They're not vacation; they are business trips. But
They are business trips for good
nobody
reasons.
ever
but
wants to go to Vegas on their own. Trust me.
I actually don't want to go
I
to
do.
Vegas, but
You
I'm going
don't.
to. On your
It's a
own?
horrible
I booked
place.
it from on my own. Well, no, I had booked it for my 40th with my wife.
Hmm.
A
Wow,
week in
that-
Vegas,
Everyone I know
And
that
then
ever goes
that
to
was-
Vegas absolutely hates it.
and that
Well.
was Feb 2020 that I booked that trip.
You'll look forward to
Um,
me breaking down Vegas because the day I get back is episode 250 of the show. So that's fun.
Yes, good old Collingwood. MVG is in Vegas. I'm pretty sure he's told me that if I go to Vegas, I can stay with him. But I'll test
Oh,
that
maybe I
theory
can
out
ping
if
him.
I ever go to Vegas.
Save me some pennies, you know. Anyway, we've got
He
some
said
super
me.
chats.
He didn't say you or Jesse.
Yeah, he wouldn't mind. We're all right.
don't beg.
Super chats. Skedaddle. Become a patron to watch Nick with his shirt off and wearing an eye patch while playing Sea of Thieves. Ooh, that could be a good enticer.
We just need 7
people
more grand benefactors.
Like, yeah, imagine this. No top on, get this rig out while I get on the other rig. Yes, that might be an idea to blend OnlyFans into our
Excellent.
Patreon.
Everything is an idea,
Ooh, yeah.
essentially.
Oh yeah, imagine that. But
No,
so there's
No, I will not.
there's grand benefactor, there's CEO, and then Nick OnlyFans.
Nothing may
the
ever be
highest tier.
above Torn Raptor. He is declared as CEO.
I don't know, man. My OnlyFans. Cody Bishop. Does gaming help you get through this crazy world?
I got to admit, I am a bit nervous about flying this week. Like,
No, we'll just
There's
fire
been
more
four-
people.
Yeah, I know.
four
Yeah, I know.
accidents in a row. It's just like really bizarre ones. Like,
Well,
what
they're
the
not-
fuck
they're
is
not-
going on?
They're not bizarre. It's you just fire everyone, and that's gonna, it was already an industry in turmoil.
This is what happens when
not
you
doing
do
much.
DEI hires to fly all your planes, right? That's what happens.
That's common sense.
What an idiot.
He signed. We can't get political, but hey, it's
Yeah.
now law because he signed.
I just
an
thought
order.
that was very funny
Yeah.
because there's never been plane accidents before DEI hires. Never been plane accidents before,
No.
ever.
No.
This
Oh,
was the
man.
first time it's ever happened.
It's all because of
Um,
Biden and Obama.
yeah. Yes. So I would argue that gaming does assist somewhat.
Yeah.
I feel like as you get older, it helps less. But
Yeah.
you know what really helps me get through this crazy world?
What?
Control helps me get
No,
through
it
this
doesn't.
crazy world.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does, mate. When I drink Control, it's like I forget anything bad's happening anywhere in the world. So if you want to just numb yourself to everything, go to www.drink. Make sure to use our code for 10% off XboxEra, mate. All your problems will just wash away in a beautiful, sweet sea of fruity flakes.
Not our financial ones, though.
Boy. No. But yeah, definitely do that. Especially since we can't have the Patreon OnlyFans tier.
Well,
That
Not
I
yet.
feel I need to implement. Yeah.
not yet. We've got 200 odd folks watching right now. I know why you're here. You want to dive into the drama, don't you? Be honest. Oh, Control making you cough your guts up there, yeah? It's so good for me.
Yeah. It went down before I was ready for it.
Yeah, that's how naughty it is. It went straight down before you were even ready.
It was trying to go right down my throat.
Oh, for God's sake! All right, we went there, but then we left it, and then you just took it
Mm-hmm.
to the next level.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into things, shall we? Top stories of the week. we'll start off with the big one, I guess. I'm surprised at this. Like, genuinely, we'd heard the rumors, and I was one of those people that was like, Forza Horizon 5, nah. Like, they'd have to redo the license. Yeah, because they'd have to redo the licenses. I thought more based around a license issue. I thought if they were going to do it, they'd do it with 6 because the license would be fresh for the vehicles and the music and all of that stuff that's in Forza Horizon 5. But surprise, just out of nowhere, just a blog post from Forza Horizon's team at Playground Games, launching on PlayStation later this year. There's been some reaction out there, and here's where I think I'm going to speak for all three of us, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Here's where all three of us are a bit like, did you guys miss the meeting? Like,
yeah, I'm not surprised this is happening. I don't understand why this is a controversy. Yeah, I don't get why this is a controversy. Like, this had been expected for some time. Like, Forza Horizon 5 is arguably the biggest racing game on the planet. I think across Xbox and PC, it was like 35 million players or some shit.
It's well over 40
now. Insane number.
I'm sure it'll be huge because now PlayStation will have a good racing game. So I'm sure it'll do massive numbers on PS5. And now the best part is that everyone can stop pretending the Drive Club is a really good looking game because now Forza Horizon 5 is on PlayStation 5. So that's fantastic. But I don't. Yeah, I don't get the controversy behind this. When this was, I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me saying, "Oh, I love it. More players for everyone."
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying I don't know why this is controversial. When we've known for a year that this was gonna happen.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It is the emotional reaction. Again, it's the same reaction we've seen when all the other games went across. But Phil did the press tour with Gamertag Radio, with Destin, made it very clear that this is going to keep happening, and this is just the way the world is now. And honest to God, the debate is just so circular. And people, and this is where I get frustrated. I put a tweet out, right, and I genuinely. I don't dive into really the Twitter wars, console wars bullshit, apart from making a card game out of it because I think it's dumb, right? But I literally was like, wow, Microsoft are going to make a lot of money. That's not me. Woo, yay, my corporate overlords are going to make a load of money. That was just a mere observation, right? And then I was like, but cool for PlayStation gamers that get to play a really great game. It's a great game, right?
And all jokes aside, it'll look very nice on PS5 Pro.
Yeah, I presume it will have Pro support.
My God. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
But the amount of frankly crazy replies that are just so up in there, I can't believe you're championing this. XboxEra just want to maintain their access. I'm like, it doesn't work the way that you guys imagine this stuff works. Like, it is bizarre to me, the amount of people that think that, we can't say anything bad because Microsoft will get cross with us and take our keys away. Like,
I say bad stuff all the time. I say bad stuff all the time.
Journalists
in
that leak
opposition
stuff,
to all of this stuff.
Piss off PR teams, early reveals, Starfield articles, Microsoft are like, yeah, sure, no, they're human beings and there are teams that get annoyed, but they also recognize the difference between publications and people, and you're allowed to say what you want to say. We're not there to
it's
give
on
them a cuddle.
It's on them to not leak.
It's on them to not leak. Absolutely right.
Do we expect Forza Horizon 6 will be day and date?
Yes,
I reckon it will.
Absolutely. So
that game will be will be huge.
I mean,
that game will be huge.
They are prepped to be multi-platform, and perhaps that is, in hindsight, why they did decide to just.
It is a porting studio doing this.
Panic Button.
Yeah.
Panic Button.
Yeah, Panic Button.
That's who did the Switch port of Rocket League. They did the Switch port of Rocket League, so they're quite good at what they do because they got that game running at 60, I think, or near 60 on Switch.
The main thing that comes out of all this is that no red lines doesn't mean everything is. It also doesn't mean everything isn't. Like, whenever it makes sense,
anything can.
Yeah, if the developer comes to them and says, yes, we think we can do it, and they go, okay, that makes sense. It'll make money to spend the extra to port it. They'll port it. So like for older things, it's not going to make sense on everything. But for a release as big as Forza, I think for any live service game, it just makes sense to be everywhere. There is no, if this is where you're going with the business, then you go. And if you think it's not going to destroy your platform, which is what their experiment of 4 things was last year, where they were smaller games, but they didn't really see a difference. Otherwise, I don't think they'd be pushing this. It just makes sense.
The thing that I think is getting a bit tiresome now, and I don't mean to disparage people and how they feel. Like Nick, you agree with the general sentiment that this is a bad idea.
I am with the people that don't want this to happen.
And that's how the people who don't want it to happen know they're on the wrong side of things.
Right. I understand. But what my point is, folks, it's happening. Right? It doesn't now matter. Like genuinely, there was a time where
you can't stop it now. Like you can't stop it. Like,
there is a time where
tried.
Microsoft
You
were
can't
like,
stop it.
we're going to raise prices, and everyone
tried.
went, fuck you. And Microsoft was like, okay. And now Microsoft's like, we're going to do this. And everyone's like, fuck you. And they're like, tough.
The realistic thing I think a lot of us probably should have accepted is the moment you're day and date on PC, it just kind of makes sense at that point. Like,
yeah, you know how I've always said with ABK and COD, Microsoft should just be pricks and be like, no, fuck it, we're just going to do it. They've done that. They've just done it to their own fans. That's all.
Orcs.
They've just done it to their own fans. Said, nah, we're doing this. We're putting everything everywhere. Bad luck.
I want to hear from the community on this. So look, I have to do. Look, we're a business too. Chuck your super chats in. All right. I want to hear different points of view. I want to hear whether are you over I would say the circular argument every time this happens. Are you over it? You're not over it. You want to see that same round and round.
I want to revel in it. I want to
see what the community feels.
That
I want to wallow in it.
I left your Discord.
So
I want to wallow it. My Discord's not even that bad. That's the funny part. It's not even that bad anymore.
It got so bad that everyone just left, and there was hardly any talking for a long time.
I mean, I've seen some tweets. I saw one journalist kind of talk about a quote from Adam Boyes, who I think was, he was on Gamer Tag Radio recently.
He was with Denny. Denny.
Who followed me on Twitter, I think, today, which is nice. But I saw Paul Tassi quote something, and it was like, PlayStation, he's quoting Adam Boyes, and it's like, Adam Boyes said, PlayStation is HBO, Microsoft is Netflix, and Nintendo is Disney, right? And a journalist had quoted this and gone, yeah, but like Netflix is huge, and they don't let you watch Stranger Things or Squid Games anywhere else. And I was just like, I read that and I was like, Amazon, Stranger Things box set. Oh, look, I could buy it.
Yeah, but you can't stream it on Amazon Prime.
Can't, but Netflix is on everything, right? And I think Jesse made a good point when we were discussing this before we went live. It's that there is no like-for-like analogy of this, really.
Not quite. Because in the end, Netflix content is still exclusive to the Netflix app.
Yes. But they don't have any form of their own hardware that you need to watch it. They are everywhere. They're
platform
on every...
agnostic.
Yeah. So in one way, they're everywhere, and another way they're not. So Netflix subscription, Game Pass, Netflix DVDs, ports to PlayStation, PC.
Yeah, and the argument I would make is that the only way that this works for Microsoft is that Game Pass continues to exist. And I think that is the concern, right? Okay, well, if Game Pass needs to continue to exist...
Well, no.
Let me finish. Let me finish before you say no. If Game Pass needs to continue to exist in order for the community to generally be okay with this, because it's offering me incredible value, the valid concerns that are raised are, but what if eventually the hardware becomes so unnecessary that Game Pass can't exist, ergo it all falls apart and you're just another third-party publisher and I have to start buying my games again? What happens to my purchases on my console? And down the rabbit hole we go, right? That's the gist. And I understand that. I think that's a fair concern to have. But it's not going to stop this train, I think, is my point.
It's not going to stop this train. It's not going to stop this train, but that doesn't mean people can't get annoyed about it.
No, I
and upset about
understand.
And again, as I've said before, especially for those ex-Sega fanboys who already saw this happen once before,
there's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of trauma.
That's right. There is a lot of PTSD
a level
there.
so much higher than Sega ever reached. Like Sega was bleeding money.
Yeah, Sega was like bankrupt.
Yeah, Microsoft's
Yes,
going to make $24 billion in a year. Like it's very different, while feeling similar, I guess.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate for both sides here.
I love it. Let's do it. And there's some super chats as well.
Yes.
I'll
Good
let
old
you keep an eye
Collingwood.
on them.
You just want super chat revenue, John.
Yes.
Correct. I want my super chats everywhere on every platform.
But not during unlisted streams, it seems.
Brandon Martin. I want Gears and Halo on PlayStation so I can show them what a real multiplayer game is. Plus, I don't care about multi-platform. I have Game Pass. Yes, that's one element of it, that we have Game Pass and they will have to buy any of the games they want to play.
And those
So
games
that is one element of it.
those games purchases fund more Game Pass stuff. Like that's the potential good that Phil has alluded to, and that the differentiator for them would be their hardware in some way, which we all assume is that you get a console that is also can play all PC games. That'd be like the big thing.
To me, that has to be their future, because I don't envision a future where they make traditional consoles, where they bleed billions on R&D, sell them at a loss, the whole lot.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's why Surface still exists. Surface exists because the R&D, they're just PCs. Yeah, they're very slim PCs and very small PCs, but they're just PCs. And they sell them at a ridiculous Apple-like premium. So that is why Surface does exist and will probably continue to exist.
They need something for consumers. They're just so business focused that they still want some console or some consumer facing stuff.
Yes, but I just don't think that would be the console we've all grown up with.
No.
As in, it won't be that traditional bespoke hardware that's very unique to gaming and costs billions and sells at a loss and blah 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 blah. I think next generation may be the last one we get in that fashion, if it even is that type of console.
It hasn't been. This generation is just mini PCs that are sold at a loss, but in that they are just mini PCs.
Well, no, you still have your APU and all that sort of stuff that
system on a
generally only consoles have.
Yeah. It's a system on a chip rather than here's a CPU and here's a GPU. They're all built in one thing.
Yeah.
Like this is that. That's what Steam Deck. Like AMD is all into the APU. They coined the phrase, it's their thing. And it was part of the console thing, but it's like it's their focus big time for laptops, and like they don't do the discrete GPU the same way that Intel and Nvidia do for that form factor. So it's going to keep going real hard.
Well, yeah, and so yes, like Gamsley is saying what I was just about to say. So the subsidized console is probably dead.
Yeah.
From Microsoft and possibly Sony.
Well, I mean, I don't think the PS5 Pro is subsidized. At least not heavily. Maybe a little bit.
Not at the price it's selling for.
No, and I think next gen is that price to start with.
Nintendo doesn't lose money on their hardware.
Nope.
So don't expect the Switch 2 to lose money. That may get more expensive than people expect.
At least 400. I cannot see it being less, and probably more.
And the problem with the video game industry is so much of it is just, well, we do it this way because we've always done it this way.
Yes.
So, there is a weird element of it, because I've also been one of those people that's like, why don't video games get more expensive? Because the costs of video games keep getting more expensive. And it's like, well, it's always been $60. Or it's always been whatever. Technically, that's not true either.
You sound like right now. You sound like Satya.
No, I said I'm playing devil's advocate for both sides.
I know you're sounding just like Satya.
But I've said a lot of this stuff before in the past. Because I've always wondered why everyone's more than happy to change their phone every couple of years.
Yeah, it's very strange that it's consoles that are reserved in this world where no, this has to last.
It's got to last 10 years.
5 to 8 years.
It's got to last 10 years.
Everything's got to stay at $60.
Yep.
You know, and it's got to look amazing throughout. And I will not have 30 FPS. And they just expect miracles from these devices. And I think to play the opposite side of this coin, I think the point that Phil kind of was generally talking towards in a not vague's not the right word, but in a consumable way, as opposed to like just telling you straight up. I think Microsoft are looking ahead at what the world is doing. The reality is, and we've said this before, you know, and this is just, it has to be part of the discussion. The reality is us hardcore console gamers are a dying breed. We are going away, and that is just just facts, man.
When I talk
It's
to my
just
kids, and I know it's anecdotal, but like they know the upcoming generation that would be replacing us over time doesn't care like this. They don't care about this. They didn't grow up with it. They didn't grow up with bespoke hardware. It's very different. My kids are happy to play shit on touch screens on their phones, and I'll never understand it.
Let me put it maybe a slightly different way. Think back to the last time a video game event took over the mainstream, like genuinely took over the mainstream in a way that was just like, it was everywhere. It was all people were talking about. It was on TV. It was on the news. When was the last one you truly remember that happened?
Halo 2.
Right? Halo 2, maybe Halo 3 push.
No,
right?
Halo
And
2.
Nintendo Switch, like in terms of like the impact it had. But on the other side of that coin of those big events, now they're reserved for...
Oh, actually, PlayStation 3, maybe.
They're reserved for more nowadays, big platform games that are happening everywhere. Like when Pokemon Go first dropped and people were playing, and it just kind of, it went mainstream and people were walking into shit and traffic and trying to catch... Like, Microsoft are now looking at that and going, the days of it being worthwhile to spend this amount of budget to make a game that looks this pretty to only sell to this many people is no longer tenable. We've lost the console war. There's no coming back from it because we're in a position where the people
part I don't believe. I don't believe.
Mate, this is just my point of view, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they look at it and they know that the people that kind of talk about and cover this industry don't care about them, and they can't brute force their way into it anymore, because if they buy all these games and they make them all exclusives, they're the bad guys, and they'll just be shat on.
So be the bad guys. They're happy to be the bad guys right now to their own fans.
I know, so, be dicks, right? Be dicks.
Yeah, how have they're more than happy to be the bad guys to their own.
But I think,
how have they been bad to their own?
Well, aren't they pissing off a lot of OG Xbox fans?
Maybe a few here and there that still care, but how's that being bad to?
We're getting off track. Let me finish making my point. They kind of just like, you know, we look at games like Minecraft, we look at these platform games like Fortnite, and if we're going to keep trying to make gaming everywhere, then we should just embrace what we've been saying since, you know, gaming is for everyone, or whatever the catchphrase has been.
When everyone plays, we all win on the back of that 20th anniversary.
Yeah, there you go. So let's just actually embody that. And I think that that's a reasonable course of actions to take. The problem that Microsoft have, and it's on them to land this, is if you're going to make another Xbox, and they've said they've said there's new hardware, and Phil talked a little bit about it, about differentiating now, right? And I love this. This actually brings it back to the old way of consoles being slightly fucking different from each other. And I've talked about the HD twins since the 360 era. They're just kind of the same thing. They run the same games. I want to see what that world looks like. I want to see a different type of machine that does different things, but I can take everything with. Like, if you look at it on its own without worrying about your brand allegiance, as a consumer of video games that we all like to play, how is what they're describing a bad thing? And I guess that's the point I'm making. Like, put that brand allegiance and the desire for the hardware in your library just to one side for a second. I'm not saying it doesn't count, but what they're describing, the end result of being able to play wherever the fuck you want, on whatever device you want, with the games that you own, sounds pretty good.
As long as for the people who
Am I alone?
truly want it, as long as you still have their ecosystem and hardware to play on, I think is what the main concern people have. There are the people out there, they're hardcore nicks talking about who they're being mean to, who are bad, who are mad they can't win, quote unquote win, because they were just, it's what you grew up with, it's what you know. But for the others, like Mort out there, they are, well, do I keep spending money on your platform? Because I'm worried. Are you going to keep having one? That is a concern. That's the thing they have to sell us on. I'm not going to defend them. I have no idea what their full plans are. They have to give you
a good answer. And it has to be, frankly, you know, and people, we've kept saying this. Yes, okay, they've said they're making new hardware. But okay, we're years away from that. And right now, for those people that are like looking at where they buy their games in this period of time, this intermittent period of time between now and that release of whatever that box is, I don't feel like there's a good answer outside of trust us, bro. Now, you could argue that out of all of the platform holders, Microsoft have been excellent about backwards compatibility comparatively. And maybe in that one regard, you could trust them. You know, they didn't sell you patches that upgraded your games. They just did it. They made them with FPS boost and whatever other features they threw in software-wise. You could make the argument that if there's one thing that you could trust them on, is that they would respect your purchases of the past going forward. That's a fair thing to say, but I still understand the concern.
There is concern, but I feel like that concern is limited to traditional consoles. I think if Microsoft does make that switch to like PC/console hardware, or at least like a Surface style Xbox or something like that, where it's a bit, they can sell it at a premium and not lose money on that hardware, and they figure out a way to get all your library there on PC, your 360 games, your OG games, then I think the point becomes probably moot, because the hardcore will buy a $1,000 whatever to keep their Xbox shit going.
The way Tom Warren has always described it to us for like over a year now is it is an Xbox. It runs the Xbox OS. It does everything Xbox does. And it can access the Windows kernel, which means it can run Steam, it can run Epic.
Yeah,
it can
and
run
that would be great.
And then the handheld, as Phil stated repeatedly last week, they've got the Series S profiles. It puts them in a great position to be able to have an Xbox handheld, which is an Xbox. And then I wouldn't be shocked, because there's already been so much work done with the Roger Ally and Legion Go.
The Roger
would be the same thing. It is an Xbox that is also a PC. And that is a differentiator of hardware that I think would sell itself, because you have the market that it just works and it gets all my shit back. And you have the people who are like, this is a really good looking PC handheld. This is a burgeoning market. If we can sell 20 to 40 million of these over the same year that we used to, awesome, because people love this Steam Deck. Valve is over the moon about it. And it's at like 3 or 4 million. Like it's
different
probably because they're not losing money on it.
It is subsidized because it's all about Steam and buying on Steam. It is a little. It's definitely cheaper than the other ones have been.
Yeah, but the beauty of OEMs making different types of Xboxes is it's opening up a market that has been so traditionally closed off. You know, we saw Stadia come in, flopped. You know, it's hard if you want to be bespoke.
It's not an industry you can buy your way into.
Yeah, it's really hard to get launched off the ground. And I think when I look at the kind of trajectory of future trends, like everyone's saying, Microsoft have lost this is a bad idea. I just like, if you look at PlayStation's generation, since they launched the PS5, they're doing well, right? But I think maybe it's no longer the case. But last year it was something like 48% of people are still on PS4. Now we're talking new consoles in the next two years. What are they going to do when they have to try and face that transitionary period again? In this economy?
It'll be cross-gen,
right? So again, they'll struggle to sell that.
Will
PlayStation
it be triple
6.
cross-gen? Like how long does it stay?
How long does that last? And I think Microsoft are looking at that and going, what is that?
Hold on. You've already got your clue for that. They're taking PS4 games out of Plus.
Yes.
So they're not going to triple cross-gen. It'll just be PS5 and...
Well, I don't think their first party would be,
PS6.
but like if you're an indie game, your indie games are probably going to still be able to run on a PS4 for a while. There'll still be a bunch. It's just messy because also they're doing okay, but they're doing okay at maintaining what they had last time, not bigger and not. So the main thing that, as we talked about when they shuffled up their CEO paradigm, they really want to get their margins in order, because like that is the main thing that Nintendo got really good at. Is they might make 1/3 of what, or even less than what Sony did in a quarter, but they will keep more money overall, which is crazy because Sony's margins were so bad. They're getting at like 6%, whereas Nintendo was 20 to 40% and just keeping way more money.
Yeah, because they've always spent less money on hardware and cheaper made games.
And they're focused on 1080p still. They're not pushing 4K, which gets more expensive, and their budgets are in better scope. We have no idea what Microsoft keeps other than it wasn't great the last year because they were spending so much money every quarter to integrate ABK. But then both have said the exact same thing. They both want to focus on margins. That's like, we're making a lot of money. We can grow if we keep more of it. So that is like a big focus for both of them to end the generation.
And we had Microsoft financials. This is all kind of blending into one topic. We had Microsoft financials this week. Again, that big 29% decline in hardware numbers. It was under their guidance, so they declined less than they thought they would. But we saw growth.
That's good.
Yeah, I know, right? Woo!
For shareholders, it is, weirdly enough.
Yeah. But we saw growth in
not.
Game Pass and that side of things, which is, again, fine. The fundamental fact is, as much as other people talk about this stuff, I don't give a fuck. I do not care one iota how much X declined, or I just care about the games I get to play. Where I start to care and where I understand the community's pain and concern is that fundamental question. Why aren't you doing more about this? Like, put it in a slightly different context. If you released a product and it was just bombing, you'd be scrambling to go, this is what, okay, let's do this. Let's do a discount. Let's find a way, path forward. Their path forward is they're just like, it's a decline. Like, I want to ask that question. Why don't you care about that as much as I feel you should?
They didn't. They answered that a couple quarters ago. Amy Hood laid out that their focus now is to move into high margin regions, which does not include loss leading console.
So how is that answer inspiring confidence in Microsoft's ability to deliver new hardware if they're effectively saying we don't care?
It was the short term. It was worded short term approach, less focus on moving console hardware, more focus on raising margins. It's essentially talking to shareholders about the rest of this generation is how I took it.
Sure, I understand it, but again, we're referring to shareholders, and I get the whole premise.
That's the only thing you're ever going to hear. They will never actually just answer, which is
short-term pain but long-term gain.
Yeah,
but I want Microsoft, and I feel like Microsoft, and I get Phil did a little bit of that with Game Attack Radio,
and they tried with Sarah last year when she was like, we've got exciting or super exciting hardware stuff, but
they need to answer that or provide I don't know, it just feels like they're not doing anything about it when they could. I think is my point. I don't care about shareholders as a consumer. As a consumer, I'm like, why aren't you doing more about it so that my future purchase and I'm confident in it, I'll keep buying, because they've got to know that it's undermining people's confidence in the store? Or is it that this is just a tiny macrocosm of reality and it's not actually anybody out there's actually caring?
This is the first generation where prices never went down. Like, hardware has not gone down. It's actually only gone up.
If anything, it's gone up.
Yeah, it's gone up across the and if tariffs hit today like they're supposed to in America, they'll probably just go up even more around here. It's a very different thing. There was way too much growth and investment during COVID. The gaming industry, for the first time in 40 years, seems matured. It seems like this might be close to the ceiling of it. there might always be something they figure out, but it's not going up. And for something that has technically just been going up the whole time for 40-ish years, it's a huge adjustment period when that stops and figuring it out. And at that point, it becomes less about chasing growth and more about chasing costs and keeping them down so that you can keep making tons and tons of money and keeping more and more of it. I definitely think next gen, everything costs more hardware wise. Games probably not.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, like the hardware will not be a loss leader anymore. I think if they could have gone back and talked to each other and said, we should both do these for $700 to start this generation, they would have. And they probably would have sold similar-ish numbers. And they know that. And that's what they're just like, yep, we're not going to lose 100 or 200 bucks on every Series X anymore. PlayStation still has the two Herculean carry Sony on its back as almost a third of that company quite often. Microsoft doesn't have that requirements from Xbox. It's pretty much just, hey, make more money.
So, okay, let's throw a slightly different question out. Because look, frankly, the conversation about hardware numbers and the fear and you know, I'm kind of over it.
And it's tied up in stuff that's just we're not going to get answers on it. And June would be the earliest, and even then, I don't think any of us expect it. Probably
maybe you'll get a tease.
The
like
Game Awards type of thing would make more sense from them the way they've done it.
The thing is, more expensive hardware would actually lead to the generations probably lasting longer. Like
well, depending on how
now,
they do them, they could just roll. And it would feel like a generation way longer.
Because we've always been so accustomed to the $299, $399 paradigm in console pricing, generations used to be a lot faster. Because $299, expecting a $299 or $399 purchase to last more than 4 or 5 years was probably seen as unrealistic.
And they get cheap.
You now have
throughout the generation. Then it was like $159 by the end of it.
I remember when the 360 hit 99 quid, right? Did it do that at one point?
And they were cheap enough where you were buying limited edition versions. So you'd be buying and then the Slim would come out, and then you'd buy the Slim. And it's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts to consoles hitting $599. Like, you know, the PlayStation 3, that was almost a death blow, $599.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to $599 or $699 being a more standard-ish price.
And maybe that's why Microsoft are doing what they're doing, because they're looking ahead 2-3 years and they're like, there's no way we can release a console at this price. Console gamers are just not going to be happy with this, but yet they want the best graphics, the 120 FPS.
That's what they've always been used to, though.
Right?
Again, it's just that thing. That's how it's always been done. So you have to keep doing it that way.
The switch becomes, all right, well, we turn our boxes into these multi-tiered access to everyone PC Franken consoles, and everyone can kind of do everything at their level that they're comfortable with.
You know what's way bigger than anything we ever do? Streamers. Streamers and content creators, and the place they play is PC. And if you can't have those games that young kids are watching on streamers, then you're screwed. Like getting Phasmophobia was really good for Xbox, but it took too long. So it wasn't as big as it could have been. It's still doing well, but it's not like a world beater like it was during its launch. But if it's just there, and this kid's like, well, I've got an Xbox, but I can play the thing Katho's playing, and they're all happy, then...
That's how they sound.
Yeah. It's a very different, weird thing. They have to sell us and prove it to us, but people are like, they're too early. And the reality is they're late. They are actually late on transitioning, but they're late because they knew it was just going to take forever to make anyone okay with it. But like Matt Piscatella has been talking about it, and I always go back to him because he's very smart. And he knows way more than any of us because he has actual numbers and not data estimates. It's the industry has been struggling for a while with black hole games and the amount of other stuff that people do, like just social media in general. One of the worst things that happened to gaming was Musk buying Twitter and turning off sharing, because like that was a huge social element of doing something cool in a game or seeing something funny and sharing it on Twitter and talking about it with your parasocial and actual real friends. Like there is so much to contend with to keep people's attention. And if you can keep someone's attention, by having them buy games on Steam on your platform that you might not get a cut of, but they're on your platform and you can constantly throw your deals and your subscription and stuff like that. That's the path they see to getting bigger. And I've been talking about it a bit on our Discord, especially with OBM, who's in chat. One bad mother, great guy, super handsome. If it works the way they want, it's an insidious move to start, at least in some way, being incredibly important everywhere, to where the point where like the Xbox platform and its third-party games and its influence on every platform becomes something where they are essential for everyone to work. So without being a monopoly, they are just so big and they make so much money for everyone that they are so important that they dominate gaming in the way that, they always wanted to, and that people were always scared of when they first started the Xbox was announced. The dominating the living room, even though the living room's pretty much anywhere you want to go now that phones exist.
I want to change tact a little bit here. We had. Go on. What's up?
Should we go through community questions?
Yes.
I
let's
got
do
them all
that.
for
That's
you.
exactly
On
what I was
purpose.
about to suggest.
Yeah.
So bring up some that are on this point.
There's
lots
so
of
many that
them.
basically relate
Let's talk through them.
to this.
That's why I went through before the show and I chopped them all out. You're welcome.
They're in the showrunner, Nick. That's easier to read.
Okay. Yeah, because so many of them relate to this. So it's like we're going through it now, and to then go through it later and be like, we already talked about this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
You can
community
super chat questions in the chat, and we'll read them out.
Like Gary Barwick just did.
Yeah, Gary Barwick just did.
There's one before Gary's. There's one before Gary's from Nerds and Other Legends. Microsoft has insulated themselves against either scenario. Whether people leave Xbox or stay, Microsoft is solid. But I fear an Apple/Android situation in gaming without the pressure of competition.
And that's what I was. That's actually kind of what I was just talking about. Where it's Microsoft's plan is to become too important to be treated like anything other than the most important publisher on everyone's platform.
Isn't it funny though that Apple and Android are those polar opposites? So Apple's, and I was going to sort of mention this when we were bringing up hardware and where all this was going. So Apple is very much the walled garden.
Yep.
Apple is very much PlayStation, sort of. All our stuff.
Prestige.
So you can't get iOS on any other device. It's just their devices. That's the only place you're getting iOS.
It's not really
sort of.
It's not PlayStation. They are Nintendo, but with PlayStation size, if that makes more sense. Because you can only get Nintendo games on Nintendo, but you can get PlayStation in multiple places now.
Yeah, well, I was going to say with Apple, you can get the Apple Music and TV apps on other TVs and other devices, but the core of iOS is only on Apple's devices, where Android is more like, you can get Android on literally any device. You can get it on Samsung phones. You can get it on HTCs. HTC still a thing.
I think so.
You can get it on. You can get Android anywhere. So it's funny to see that the only two players in phones take those opposite approaches. And who's number one? Apple's number one.
No. If
Apple's not the $1 trillion. Apple's not the richest company in the world.
Apple's the biggest company, but in terms of market share.
Yes, in terms of
Android
market
is
share, it's Android. In terms of market share, yes.
But
Apple,
we weren't talking companies. We were talking operating systems. Android's big.
Yeah, I know, but Apple.
Sorry, I'm just being stickler for the rules here.
It's funny that
Apple
Apple is the richest company in the world, though.
Yes.
Apple's the richest company in the world. No, they still are. Or is NVIDIA now?
It's still NVIDIA, even after they dropped $600 billion in market cap, I think.
It's just...
Anyway,
There's an argument to suggest that doing it Apple's way, and I guess in turn Nintendo's way, is
Apple
the
took the
best
lead
way.
back after NVIDIA dropped.
Yeah, I thought they did.
Yeah.
So there is you can't completely dismiss those who would like to lock everything up, because there is a way you can still be hugely successful with a walled garden if you execute on that walled garden
incredibly
properly.
well.
And that's part of my frustration. I think Microsoft didn't give themselves the opportunity to try and execute on that walled garden. So they had set themselves up for it. They had, let's be real, until they bought ABK, until ABK fucked everything up. So prior to them buying ABK, they were setting themselves up to execute on an Apple-like walled garden. They bought Bethesda, they were buying all these studios.
I think that's true as well, because it's true in the messaging that was given out.
Correct.
This acquisition is for exclusive games where Game Pass exists.
Where Game Pass exists. Yep.
They said
and we're gonna have all this content and a game every quarter and blah 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 and all this stuff
If
and
you
play
take
anywhere.
The business speak, it was you can expect them where Game Pass is.
I'm going to disagree with you, Jess. I think that absolutely was the intent.
I
the
think
reality,
it was
the business world changed, and they changed their approach.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
True.
I'm not saying it wasn't the intent. I'm saying it doesn't mean anything. And that's always a thing that you got to remember with business speak is like it will be where Game Pass is, but it doesn't actually mean anything. They can always just pivot.
I know, but
no, they can. We know. I've always said execs will say what they need to say when they need to say it. Just like how we're going to keep making hardware. Yeah, right now their plan is to keep making hardware. Right now, that doesn't mean that won't change in 5 or 10 years. Just like the Game Pass exclusivity thing changed, hardware could change too. So I think ABK screwed everything up. I think their plan was to have an Apple-like ecosystem where they just have so much amazing content and you can only get it in the Xbox ecosystem and Game Pass and this and that and the other. And then they bought ABK and were like, well, you've now spent $70 billion. How fucking long are you going to take to make that back? How about you put that shit everywhere?
I don't think making it back was the problem. My take is, if Xbox were Xbox without Microsoft and owned all of these things, I think they would still pursue the walled garden approach. Probably. The unfortunate reality of being a company of Microsoft sizes, and I think it is fair to bring this into the picture a little bit, is regulatory scrutiny. And we saw it, right? If they were Xbox sized, or if they were even Sony sized, and they'd tried to buy ABK or there was some merger, right, between platform holder of Xbox siloed on its own as a company versus as part of $1 trillion Microsoft, I think the result would have been far less, combative in the regulatory system. But as soon as they've done this, they can't look at what happens when people thought they might be a walled garden. We had companies and regulatory bodies going, no, you can't. They have to be everywhere. And I can't help but think that in a different world, if Xbox wasn't owned by Microsoft, that we probably would still be in that walled garden.
100%. Yeah.
It would be like, we can just do what Sony's doing, but do it from our side of the fence. But they can't because it's Microsoft.
Because it's Microsoft. Yeah, of course.
I'm trying to make sense. I hope that does.
That's not news. That's not a surprise to anyone. Everyone knows that it's because it's Microsoft. Microsoft's big and evil, and of course we can't let them have control of all of this stuff. Blah 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 blah. I mean, the more you think back to that ABK trial, and you think to yourself, it is insane what happened during that period over one video game. This was all over one video game, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It was
insane.
Thing. The FTC latched on to Sony's arguments because they wanted to stop the deal. Because that's been Lena Khan's thing. Like the reality though is I don't think it doesn't matter who owns them. Like because the actual business completely changed. The old system has a very hard limit. Even gaming in general now has a very hard limit.
Okay, but here's where I disagree with you. I think that hard limit for Microsoft goes away had they executed on Xbox everywhere while keeping everything exclusive. I think that limit goes away.
What limit?
You just said there's a limit because consoles like 200 million, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is I think that limit goes away for Microsoft because they were going to have consoles and PC and this. And you might say they're still going to have that. Yes, they are. They're still going to have console and PC and cloud and blah, 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 blah. But now that it's no longer just Xbox everywhere in terms of you can play your stuff everywhere. Ah, fuck this. It's just there's such a much deeper discussion to this than we have time for.
Or the knowledge to actually do.
As I keep saying, the video game industry is unique, and that is my one concern with Satya. Satya sees phones, Satya sees PC, and just thinks, then we'll treat games the same way. And it's like, no, bro. They're not the same thing, bro. And the market's not the same, bro. Like, and the thing that frustrates me about Satya is he just did an interview not that long ago. I say not that long ago, but I think it was a few years ago, where he says, oh, we regret getting out of phones. We regret getting out of phones. Who fucking do? So you've already made that hardware mistake once, and it was more fatal than people realize, because Apple will always be king because they've got that phone. They'll always be king. You won't see Apple go like this, like Nvidia does, like Microsoft does, like all the others do, because they've got that phone. The Google phones don't do much. Samsung's probably the primary seller of Android. It's probably not even Google. It's probably Samsung. The issue is, and he sees that, Android's everywhere, and they've got the biggest market share. Have a look at them. I can understand his line of thinking. As someone who doesn't understand the video game industry for shit, I can completely understand Satya's perspective that, well, if we just put our shit everywhere, that's huge. How we'll be number one. That's how we'll be number one. Because look at Android and look at whatever. Look at us in PC. HP makes Windows 11 computers, and so does Dell, and so does everyone else. And we've also got Surface, and we're number one. So I can see why his brain sees it the way it does. But it's still coming from the perspective of someone that has zero clue about how the gaming industry works and how unique it is.
There's a lot of nuance in this particular industry because it's a creative one. It's not just about productivity, which is Satya's forte, right? This is about creativity. This is about, a hobbyist developer in his bedroom having the next big idea, all the way up to a AAA legendary game designer wanting to tell the next big evolution in storytelling in video games, whatever, right? It's a creative industry. And that is one thing that I think over all my years of enjoying Xbox as my main console platform, that I feel like Microsoft has never truly grasped, like genuinely grasped. They've always, to a degree, anecdotally, my own personal opinion, treated a business level gaming as money for us, right? And I think Satya is a very big example of that. It is not about the creator making the dream that they dream about, because all games are passion and drive to make something cool. It's not necessarily about the money for a lot of the smaller games and the smaller publishers, right? For the big ones that release the same football game every year, it's probably about the money. But there's a lot to unpack with that, because if you were a creator and you just knew from how the games industry works level that, okay, Xbox have lost the wrong generation to lose, they are never going to recover, and where do I want to work? This is pure anecdote. This is pure theory, right? Where do I want to work? I want my game to be played by, and I think Phil said this in one of the interviews, I want my game to be played by as many people as possible. How do I attract the best talent? Well, I don't want to go work for Xbox because my game won't get played that much. There is all this kind of little nuance that is playing into the games industry that I just don't think Satya or the big wigs that decide the monetary decisions at Microsoft really think about. They just think about those dollar signs and how much it is. On the flip side, if I look at the industry from the creative perspective and I want to look after what I currently have, then this is the right call. Because, you have lost. We can't financially justify making everything exclusive, because people seemingly nowadays just aren't buying games as much. Like I saw someone in the chat mention earlier, Astrobot Game of the Year sold to, what was it, 3% of the PlayStation 5 audience. Is that great? Is that good? I don't know if it is. Yeah, it was a low cost project for them.
Yeah, I was about to say, luckily,
Right.
Astrobot probably didn't cost much to develop.
You do a couple more of them, you're in big fucking trouble, right? You can no longer pay people. You can no longer, and I think from a pure business standpoint, as much as people want to be like, oh, Xbox should have done this is dumb, that is dumb, you're not in the position to say that, because you ain't got to pay someone's salary and you haven't got to justify it. And all of this has to be justified. And from a devil's advocate stance, I suppose, I understand the business reasons as to why they're doing the decision that they're doing. The question becomes, as always,
still short term,
how do Microsoft succeed now? And how do they sell the dream that apparently they have in terms of what the next console is going to be and why people should invest in it? How do they keep that audience happy? And I don't feel like we've had good enough answers yet, but that's on them. That's not on us to go out and fight a good fight for them. That is on Microsoft to answer.
There's also a lot of context around everything that gets ignored. So Satya can turn around and go, well, look at us in Windows. And it's like, dude, you've just inherited a monopoly.
Yeah, you can't. 1990 and 1980s Microsoft were cunts.
Yeah, and Apple was bankrupt. Apple was bankrupt back then. You didn't have competition back then. And you've just inherited, as the current CEO, you've just inherited that monopoly. You haven't done anything else. It's just, that's the stuff that worries me. That's the stuff that worries me a little bit.
I'm conscious we've still got a ton of community questions and super chats to do.
Because the super chat got us off track.
Tangents.
The super chat got us off track. Where is it? Oh my God, there's so much. I don't think we're going to talk about any topics.
No, we're not. It's not happening.
And
we did that super chat. You've got Gary B now. Gary B. So
I know, but
he's out of the way.
I understand, but my oh my God, my YouTube is absolutely acting like a complete dickhead. Where are we here? Okay. Gary B. I have Game Pass Ultimate and PC and Xbox Series X. I hardly turn on my Series X because everything is on my PC, which is more powerful. I will 100% purchase Xbox handheld day one for the portability aspect. Console's not my focus. Game Pass is. Oh, I'll get that. I've wanted an Xbox portable, even if it's a PC as well. I've wanted an Xbox portable for years.
Yeah.
I think the portable has probably changed form thanks to all this stuff happening. I think at one point there was definitely a portable Series S. There was 100% a portable Series S at one point. But that has now probably shifted to this rumored PC/console hybrid thing, which I've got no problem with either, because I still get my Rocket League on the go and I still get my Fortnite on the go, so that's fine. But yeah, I'll get that PC. I would argue that if they can market it right and they can position it right, that could give that console/PC hybrid portable could give Microsoft a little bit of a leg up, because I'm noticing a lot of kids now, as we've spoken about before, a lot of kids want to get into PC gaming because of the streamers. But a lot of these kids, and when I say kids, I mean as young as 8, 9 and shit. Like my son wants a gaming PC. He's 9.
Yep.
They don't understand the head fuck that PC gaming can be. They just, in their heads, they envision this console-like convenience where they just turn on the PC and push the game and it just plays. It's like, no, bro. PC gaming ain't that simple. A lot of the time, it just won't work. And you don't know why. And then you got to figure out why. And you just can't come downstairs and go, Baba, Fortnite's not working, and think Baba's going to go up and fix it, because I can't be stuffed with that shit. Yeah. So if Microsoft does create this PC hybrid thing that can provide an almost console-like experience that's like PC gaming, that could potentially give them a little bit of a leg up going forward with that crowd.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they go with it, but
yeah. I
I
understand
get you,
Gary
Gary.
B's stance there. Like when I was reviewing indie, I could have played it on my PC and it ran better and looked nicer and all of that jazz. But I was reviewing it on Xbox for Xbox people, but I also big game single player. I'm going to sit in front of the telly. Do I see a world where, you know, whatever big powerful device, I'll just happily run an HDMI cable to my TV? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Depends what they do. What do we got next from the Super Chat land?
Army Shai, Microsoft Game, risk it for the biscuit. They have not insulated themselves against anything. If they lose players on the console, they lose Game Pass subs, which is true. I've said that before.
Yep.
That's not insulation. Dumping exclusivity of core IPs isn't smart by any metric.
So if all I would say is if you've had that realization and Nick's had that realization and we've all thought that thought, they've probably thought that thought too, but have decided to proceed anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is where I'm like, I get it. We all feel different ways and we all can acknowledge different things, but also it's happening. It has happened. It will continue to happen. You can keep making noise. It won't stop it from happening. If you care, I would say to any Xbox customer that cares, vote with your wallet. Because that's what every consumer has the right to do. You don't owe Microsoft your allegiance. I'll put it that way. You don't owe them your blood. Do you know what I mean? It is just video games. If you're not happy, you are well within your rights to go somewhere else. And if that's what happens, then it's on Microsoft, not on you. It's not on us. It's just what happens. And then we'll rebrand.
Divan Greedy. Are we going to debate on this every time they make something multi? Love this podcast and understand why there is a debate, but it is always the same. Nobody's opinion hasn't been changed since last year. Well, yeah, we said that before. we said that before, that it's circular.
But unfortunately, Divan Greedy, it is what people want to kind of discuss. So, you know, we are slaves to the community in that regard. Is if we just came on tonight and went, Forza Horizon 5 is going to PlayStation 5. Anyway, next up in news, people would not like us very much.
We've kind of done that in the past, and people got upset.
Yeah, because immediately then we're defense force for, you know, like we have to walk a line, and it is, you know, regardless of how many times you have it, I would like to think out of all of the places, we're not being fanboys. We're actually having a reasonable. Some of us agree with certain points, some of us disagree. We're having a discussion, and everybody can kind of state their point of view without being like attacked for it. Like, we empathize with the people that are concerned. We understand the business reasons. Our main point is to explain it to everybody so that, you know, they feel like they're all having this discussion with us. I think that's why we're doing it.
Oh my God, we haven't touched the community questions.
I know.
The super chats keep coming in.
I know.
Ian Glenn. Haven't seen Ian Glenn for a while. I recognize that avatar and that name. Hoping for quick resume on the Xbox handheld. Oh my God, could you imagine? If it is an Xbox handheld PC and they end up getting quick resume to work on it.
It would not
technological leap, baby.
It would not be the whole, again, it'd be an Xbox that can access PC. So yes, it should have anything a Series S has. That's the whole point. It's good Series S.
Hope so.
That they figure out how to make run, because the main problem outside of battery life is like memory bandwidth and all that type of stuff. It's built to run this way, but Microsoft has that translation layer, could potentially help figure things out. Yes, it's an Xbox first because those work, but it lets you be a PC if you want, even though they're shit.
Yeah. Amish AI. I'm going to smash my Series X if they port Redfall onto PlayStation.
Where's my Redfall port?
There might be some people smashing their PlayStations after they try Redfall on their PlayStation. Senor Bean. Microsoft punting next-gen to PC is a good thing. Maybe an OEM will build something cool that caters to us old head gamers. Either way, everyone should be excited.
Yeah. That is one element that I am actually like, okay, I mean, I'm down for this, is the potential for a complete mix-up in the same old.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not
going to
how
try
you
to keep
talk in
my tangents to like 2 sentences now.
That's not how you talk in my Discord, Senor Pin.
He plays to his audience because he likes to troll a little bit in the public Discord, but he always plays to his audience.
Talk in my Discord.
He is always he is trolling and looking to push people's buttons, no matter where he is, generally. But I would say, as far as this conversation goes, it's always steeped in the way the system used to work and not in the way it actually works anymore.
Oh, I know. Oh, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
So that's why it's so circular, because as a company, they have to operate where they think things are going. Microsoft has been very good at figuring that out. They haven't always been. In fact, they've rarely been the best at executing on
Timing it.
Yeah. They've been a lot better lately on stuff. But they were just so far behind, even though the Xbox One was a better platform with better games early on. It wasn't within a few years, and that's all it took. Because they were being led by a division that absolutely hated the hardware.
I mean, I've said this before, this anecdote, but when we revealed the card game, I was doing some like tweets for it while the Kickstarter was live, and one of them was the classic PR blunder card, right? And we made the joke, and the joke was, you've made a right mess of this console, which is the joke on the card. Always online, digital rights management. What were you thinking? You've alienated an entire fan base with this move. And a friend at Microsoft was like, ow. And then in brackets, we were right in the end, though. It is, everyone is always online now. There is no argument about cameras watching us or speakers listening to us. It is.
I can talk about anything, and within half an hour, I will get an ad for it on my phone or even on my computer.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
even though it's not always listening, it still always seems to know what I'm talking about.
Let's have another crack.
Community questions. Finally.
The community questions. Now that all the super chats are through, but thank you for bringing those super chats.
Yeah, appreciate
to
it.
us. Okay, now
at least that painful segment made some money.
First community question is from Jasail. Hey guys, I personally think people complaining about Xbox exclusives being everywhere is getting exhausting. It is. It is. I still love talking about it, but it is. It's been an entire year, and people are still complaining about something we should be over by now. It's not like we've been swimming in exclusives for the past decade. There's a reason we would always rely on Halo, Gears, and Forza since we didn't ever know if we would get anything else. Xbox as a platform is still a great place to play if you play games. I'm always going to buy the hardware if they make it, but Game Pass is greater than exclusives in my opinion. My question after that rant is, would you trade Game Pass for being able to say that PlayStation can't play Xbox games? I know I wouldn't. Thanks, and y'all have a good night. As a person who seems to be paying, and this is unique to me, that's what I'm saying for me, as a person who seems to be paying for Game Pass for no real reason, I would trade Game Pass for being able to say PlayStation can't play those games. Like, I don't play a lot of games on Game Pass. I said for me, unique to me. I said unique to me.
There's
I don't play a lot of games
literally no
on Game
benefit.
Pass.
The one is a cool subscription service, and the other one doesn't do anything.
I know, but like I said, I don't play a lot on Game Pass.
I know. I'm just finding you
I'm
disappointing as a human being. That's all. I understand why.
And I get codes for games as well. So unique to me, yes, I would rather they lock it all the fuck down and PlayStation can't have any of it. Me. But yes, wider business and all that bullshit, yeah, I understand. I'm just saying me.
Slight variant on that. Or what if, would you keep Game Pass if you could play PlayStation exclusives on an Xbox?
Huh?
Would you keep, if you could play PlayStation exclusives on an Xbox and keep Game Pass, would you prefer that scenario?
Of course.
Right.
Why wouldn't
because the reality is PlayStation
that question doesn't make any sense.
I'm just making the point that the reality is that PlayStation are moving ever, ever closer to day and date on PC. It will become
day and date on PC.
Right? And if Microsoft's new Xbox can log into those systems, you can play
I know.
Spider-Man 3
You-
on Xbox.
I know, we've talked
you
about
can
Why?
do that now with Boosteroid.
I know you could.
Yeah,
With
Boosteroid.
what?
Boosteroid.
Oh, Booster.
Unlike GeForce Now, Boosteroid. Because GeForce Now was going through a browser, and they had something, I guess, with PlayStation where you could say, no, not through a browser. But Boosteroid works.
But yes, again, that's why I was very clear to say unique to me, because I don't like. It's funny. I keep getting tempted to cancel Game Pass because I'm not using it. Like I keep getting the games. I keep getting codes for those games, so I don't. I'm paying. I guess I'm just paying for the online.
You're stealing those codes
Really?
from community members, yes.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries, bro. We'll stop giving him codes. No. Okay. Cheers, bye. Phil,
Yeah, so I've been
Sorted.
paying for Game Pass all this time. I've been paying for Game Pass all this time, and I don't know why. I just because I have been. I guess I should just pay for Core so I can play online.
Yeah, you could do, and it's. I think it's always worth bearing that in mind. We always try and keep the perspective of not being in the industry as a publication, because like we just get stuff, right? And I might not play half the games I get sometimes.
Yeah, we pay for it with my time, generally.
It's most valuable then, more valuable than we thought. All right.
Okay.
Next community question.
Omen. I think it's been asked before whether Game Pass would ever come to PlayStation or Nintendo, and it's been shut down before. That said, it seems increasingly clear that Xbox is absolutely becoming a third-party publisher alongside EA and Ubisoft. So why would PlayStation allow EA and Ubisoft to offer EA Play and Ubisoft Plus on their platform, but not Xbox Game Pass? If Game Pass were on PS5, I would argue it would make it easier for PlayStation to increase their market share, since Game Pass would help ease the pain of Xbox users losing their library. To me, it seems like if Game Pass were on PlayStation, both PlayStation and Game Pass would gain more users.
Game Pass isn't just first party, and EA and Ubisoft things are just first party. So it'd have to be a different version of Game Pass.
It would be very different to what you are currently enjoying now.
Yes, the Game Pass, a Game Pass, and don't get me wrong, I'm 100% sure Microsoft has spoken to both Nintendo and PlayStation about the possibility of Game Pass on their platforms in the past. They would be very unique, separate Game Pass things to what we all know and use. So, Game Pass for PlayStation, in the same way Game Pass for PC is technically different to the Game Pass for console. If this would be a similar thing.
Yes.
Game Pass on PlayStation would literally just be probably for Microsoft's owned stuff and nothing more. Same with a Switch variant. It would just be, which, mind you, now that Microsoft owns so much, it would still be a lot, but it would
still
just
probably
be
be
for Microsoft
It
stuff.
would probably be like $20 a month.
You reckon? Even for theirs?
For day one, absolutely. Ubisoft Plus is $18 a month.
Yeah.
Which I would
I
never.
guess so.
EA's is 20, I think. Like when you're getting their shit day one, it's expensive.
So question then, if in a world where they do that, where they do Game Pass for Switch and PlayStation, does the price of Ultimate go up and then include PlayStation and Switch if you own those platforms?
No, because then you have to give
Why?
Sony and Nintendo a cut on every single one.
Yeah, it's a tricky
It's
one.
an add-on, and it's a different. So it's not available. EA's is only available on PC, and Ubisoft's is a specific add-on that you have to add on, and it's like $3 above. But then I imagine that flags your account as having that add-on, and so then the platform holder gets their little cut.
Yeah. So it probably would be like an add-on channel type thing.
Yeah. And it gets super complicated. And they don't want that. They want just Game Pass Ultimate, and you sign up for it for $100 a month a decade in the future when the economy has exploded.
Probably. Okay. Next question is from Didact
On the forum. Let me find it.
but I'm looking at it on the
Yeah, he's
showrunner.
talking
I know,
about
but
it
I
just
don't.
for
I
him
have to
present.
find them to show them.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's on the forum.
Just showing the showrunner looks like shit.
Okay. Hi, peeps. now that the games are truly going to PlayStation, can we expect a Game Pass
Same
for
question.
PlayStation or
Same
Game
question.
Pass for Switch? Yeah, like EA Play and Ubisoft Plus with only first-party games. Would those be included in
we
Ultimate?
answered that out of order. But yes, that
Yep.
we had our answer. The only way it would work, single party only, and it would have to be its own thing on each platform in some
Yep.
way.
Yes.
Single,
That's
first party only, not single party. I don't know what single party
Yeah,
means.
that's funny. 99 Rukin on the forum. Yeah. Hello. Hope you're having a great day. I just want to say this before I get to my question. I have no problem with Xbox games being everywhere. I think it's great more people get to play it. I might be an Xbox fan, but the people complaining to chill and stop console warring. Never. Second, I like to say who Microsoft will buy next, but most of the time I'm joking. And honestly, I think they would get Embracer once they split up. Me personally,
but Embracer's crown jewels, I think. Square
yeah.
Enix.
Me personally, politics are in games, but shouldn't be used against gamers or developers from either side. Makes a lot of actual gamers not want to buy your games and support you. My question, where do you see Xbox in 10 years? I see them like a platform like Steam in the future.
Ooh.
If anyone had any idea, they'd be incredibly rich.
Yeah, I don't know. If Microsoft pull this off, you could see the Xbox operating system from a gaming development standpoint be huge.
But also,
it's a fair.
He did say like
assumption.
Steam, who are doing more and more hardware.
Yeah. But people are telling me that if you're going to be a publisher, you shouldn't do hardware. Yeah, I don't know.
Rules are always different from Microsoft
Yeah, yeah.
because they're hated.
Yeah, they are disliked. It's hard for those guys. Bless them.
But that's what I'm saying. If you look at Steam, if you look at PlayStation, if you look at Nintendo, and if you look at Microsoft, all of them are doing different things, but all of them have different things they can get away with because everyone looks at all four of them so differently. This is that context I was referring to. And understanding that context is key.
And the main thing that, and I've been hearing it a lot today on the show and in chat, is that people keep looking at, well, Xbox is essentially going to be dead in some ways. They're not going to have hardware or things like that. And they can use that to slowly creep their way in everywhere, start making money and more everywhere, to the point where, much like Nintendo looks at Minecraft as like a first-party game because it's so important, that'll be a ridiculous amount of different things, all surrounded by Microsoft and Xbox as a division. They will be too
Xbox
important
dead.
to ignore for any of those platforms.
Xbox dead more refers to hardware. Xbox as a, like, the worst case scenario of all of this is that Microsoft is like one of the biggest third-party publishers in the world.
They're already
That's like the
They are
worst
already the
case
biggest.
scenario.
they're the biggest Western. Tencent is the biggest overall, but it's almost entirely mobile.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just saying the worst case scenario is what I'm saying. Like in 10 years' time, yep, Xbox hardware's gone, but Microsoft is like the biggest third-party publisher in the world. That's so Microsoft gaming, or whatever you want to call it, that will never go away. Not now, like that. There's no chance that ever happens. The Xbox dead stuff, I assume people are more referring specifically to hardware.
It's the mix of people who are afraid of hardware going away and the people who are desperate for hardware to go away so that they can really feel like they won.
Yes. So, you know, in 10 years' time, if things keep going the way they're going, I could see them getting rid of hardware, personally. Just only because I know how Satya thinks. I could see them getting rid of hardware. I'm sure if it was completely up to, like, Phil, consoles would never go away.
I don't think Satya wants to get rid of hardware.
Not right now. Not right this second he doesn't.
They really want something that faces consumers. They are so heavily stuck on the business side of things that they want more consumer stuff. They want diversity because they're doing this AI push, and they probably know better than us. But much like Web3 and NFTs, and you got to appease people, like, there are ways AI will really matter, the large language models, But the ways that it's being sold for consumers are all bullshit. Like, they're all garbage. People don't want to pay for AI. They don't care about AI features in TV or their phones or shit most of the time.
Yeah, I know.
It's just a fancy chatbot. So they still want some consumer front-facing thing that makes the money. And having your own platform is always going to be a key part of that.
Yeah, especially if they treat it like Windows, frankly. You know, Surface is the pinnacle product,
the premium
of Microsoft
experience
for Windows, and Xbox is the premium product of what I am now terminalizing as Xbox OS. Makes sense in that respect.
It does. Because I saw Portal Player, and Jesse mentioned it earlier about Game Pass, and I've said Game Pass is a thorn in their side because they can't ignore Game Pass. But at the same time, people keep saying, "Oh, but Game Pass." Game Pass ain't growing. So
we literally just had financials where they said it grew
on PC. They said it grew on PC.
Yeah, 30% on PC. And they had better than
Game Pass crew.
They had better than expected results from Call of Duty, which they were very happy with.
And they're still not giving us the number.
No one asked. You need to become a big enough shareholder to be able to ask a question, and then they will answer.
I want a number. You can't handle a number. I want the truth.
Yeah, but is there anything wrong with wanting a number? Every other company gives their subscriber number.
PlayStation stopped doing it 2 years ago.
But what, like Netflix, all of them all give their subscriber numbers?
They're not gaming.
Because
none of the gaming subs give it out.
That is the primary and only way to view Netflix is to be a subscriber.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, if Game Pass, if this is, if that's the only way to play Xbox games is to be a subscriber, then they'd have to start giving those numbers, I would imagine. But
they stopped giving PlayStation Plus numbers.
Did they? I swear that I feel like they keep giving them each financial.
No, they give MAUs. They don't give PlayStation Plus. They give MAUs. They swap to active users, where they're roughly 2 million more than they were like in 2019 or something like that. They don't.
We'll find out soon because their financials are soon, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean they're like a year or two not giving PlayStation Plus numbers.
I felt like they gave the numbers too. But
they did longer than Xbox, but they stopped when they started going down.
Okay. The next community question also in the forum.
I got it.
Oh my God.
Sydle.
Sydle? Is it Sydle or Sydle?
No idea. It's a made up name because I'm American.
Yeah, but there might still be a way. We'll have to ask Sydle how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Hi, gents and Nick. In his Wall Street Journal interview following his promotion in 2017, quoted below, Phil talked about how the promotion was to give him more latitude to reach gamers on any device, even mentioning PS4. Around the same time, in an interview with Variety, he mentioned that they weren't going to sell 2 billion gamers a console, which led to talking about the cloud. Hindsight is 2020, but with that kind of scale in mind, if Satya had given you the job to grow the brand to reach billions of gamers, would you have done one thing differently than what Spencer and team did? Is there one thing you think they should do going forward? Oh, you're asking the wrong person that question.
Lock it up.
Lock it all up. That's what I would have done different. I'm totally on board for Xbox Everywhere. I've said that 100 times. Completely on board for Xbox Everywhere in terms of places you can access. Yes, thank you very much, Assassin, for the 10
Grand Benefactor
membership. Yep, Grand Benefactor. Xbud's got one. Painful Discourse. Chandler Jackson. Brad Graves. Jason. Hey, Jason got one. Destiny 11. Alex Dukes. Gavin House. Brandon Martin. And Calzito17. All got a membership from Assassin.
Welcome
thank
to
you
the
very
Cool
much
Kids
for that.
Club. Don't forget to check out the Patreon lounge on both our forums, forum.xboxera.com, and our lovely community Discord, discord.gg/XboxEra. Come and say hello. It's nice to come and chat to the Patreon
And Assassin
community.
made a comment as well. As someone who is a fan of this lovely panel, even though I will mainly support PlayStation from now on,
he'll be back.
I will always be here to support. Thanks, guys. See, and that's what Xbox lost someone like Assassin.
They lost Assassin Entertainment. Phil,
That's
bro,
what I mean, man.
I actually want to read this out from Sydle's question here. This is the excerpt from the Wall Street Journal interview that Phil gave, and this is really interesting. You ready for this? 2017. Microsoft in September promoted Xbox chief Phil Spencer to executive vice president, reporting directly to chief executive Satya Nadella rather than Windows chief Terry Myerson. In an interview, Mr. Spencer said his new role is designed in part to give him more latitude to reach gamers on any device, rather than using gaming to make Windows more successful. That was reportedly Terry Myerson's forte. That means one day more Microsoft first-party games could appear on other platforms, he said, such as 2017, such as Apple's iPhone or even Sony's PlayStation 4, as its building game Minecraft does. Mr. Spencer acknowledged console sales are important, but said Microsoft is more focused on growing game software and services. He said the company measures the success of its gaming business by revealing the number of people who use its online services.
It's when they switched to MAUs like Sony did a couple years ago.
Yeah, 2017. He told you.
I know. We know that.
It's interesting. But yeah,
but we said at the start of this tangent when we talked about Forza Horizon 5 that we've all known this is coming. That this shouldn't be a surprise. We said that from the start.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's what I would have done differently, Sydle. I would have kept everything exclusive to at least give the ecosystem a chance to grow as a bit more of a walled garden and see where that goes before just completely abandoning everything. Because you have so many...
The way they look at it is... Yes, we could get more of theirs and we get 100% of that, but is 100% of more of PlayStation's market share as much as we get 100% of this, we get 70% of them, we get 70% of Switch, and we get various amounts on PC on all the various storefronts. And the long-term answer, and the only one that's right, is being more places helps unless you can just utterly dominate the 2 to 250 million console sales. Like, unless you can really get 150 to 200 million of them, like at that point, and they would know more. Obviously, we're mostly guesswork. Would just being everywhere and trying to maintain a solid hardware base probably get you a lot more money with less spent on selling consoles to people who only buy a game or 3 a year. Like, because so many of Sony's console sales, they don't get the software attached that Nintendo does, because Nintendo can sell 140 million Switches and do insane amounts of software sales per customer. And it's bad to sell your hardware and have that person spend, $70 to $100 on it a year because they just play free to play or they just buy a game here or there. So the growth vector, when you're trying to figure out all the shitty business terms and why companies do what they do, they want Apple's audience. They buy a lot of hardware and they spend a lot of money. Like it's the opposite for Sony. Sony, they sell a lot of hardware, and they don't sell shit. And Nintendo has sell a ridiculous amount of hardware, sell nothing. The Switch was the first time it's like, we've got the DS and the Wii at the same time in one thing, and it's selling even more hardware. Or software. It's crazy. It's less hardware overall. But
doesn't that just highlight what I keep saying, which is how unique the gaming industry is? Why is it so different for Nintendo, yet so different for PlayStation, so different for Xbox?
Nintendo was first and won. Like, it's the Netflix thing. Netflix doesn't have the best. They were first. They took off and they...
Yeah, but Nintendo's failed too. And look how they recovered. Nintendo has failed on a level worse than Xbox ever has.
But they've recovered. But they've had 4 successes now, way better than Xbox ever has. Like, it's variable for them, but also they had to cannibalize themselves to get back. Like, they failed so hard, they had to give up one entire arm of their company and combine it all together instead of being the two different things. And Nintendo is the unicorn that Sony and Microsoft they can't be. And even with Nintendo, we have to see how the Switch 2 goes, because if they're not growing at some point, if they're doing amazing and they sell 120 million Switch 2s, that might be good enough, even though it's less if it costs more. But still, every company eventually does search for growth. Like Nintendo is...
No, I know.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that, so the Xbox One has always been considered a disaster, right? And that sold close to 60 million consoles. The NES sold 61. The SNES sold 49. The 64 sold less than that. The GameCube sold like 20. The Wii U sold 10 or 12. So Xbox One isn't the disaster everyone kind of made it out to be.
It was a very different industry back then on how much things were expected to sell. Like, it got a lot bigger.
I would like to point us all to read JD's armchair analyst question now at this point.
Well, I was going to just quickly read out Risket's super chat as well, because it kind of relates, because all of a sudden super chats are flooding in again. And by the way, to all the people saying I'm tired of this argument, this is part of the reason it's good to have this argument, because look how people this is more super chats than we've had in ages. So the milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, doesn't it? Risk it for the biscuit. Exactly, John, but just like DRM, etc., because you were saying before about the DRM issues they had and everything. Just like the DRM, etc., they went too early, and they're going too early now. If the Steam/Xbox was a thing, these moves would make sense. They're doing it again. Bullet, foot, rake, face. Yeah, but probably going a touch too early. Yes.
But what are they doing? What are they doing to you specifically right now? Is like, I don't just necessarily disagree with that they might be going too early, but like with the always online stuff, people were not ready for it, right? And I can hear you go, yeah, people aren't ready for this, but they're not forcing less games upon you or taking games away from you. Are you mad that someone else gets to play those games?
No, that's not what he's mad at.
I know. I'm just devil's advocating the question. Like, what are you losing right now that makes you so cross? The promise of, like, what? If your answer is I'm concerned Xbox hardware is going to go away, we all understand that one. But you've got the hardware right now, right? I don't understand. What are you really mad about right this second that's too early for you? They're telling you we're going to do this in a couple of years. Okay.
You know what?
I'll make a decision in a couple of years if I'm going to buy something else.
I am mad about the stepping on a rake, so I'm going to ban the word rake in our chat.
Why?
Wow.
I hate it. Band-Aid and rake, they're both gone.
Assassin with a super chat. To Nick's point, Microsoft's strategy should have been, we know you won't leave PlayStation or Nintendo, but we want you to join Xbox to play these games. They should have at least given it a chance. And that's what I've always said. You've made this investment. You've bought all these studios. You've bought ABK. You've done all this stuff. At least give all of that a chance to have a tangible impact. And if after a few years you see it's done jack shit, no worries, man. Knock yourself out. Do whatever you got to do. But at least give it all a chance.
Yeah. But clearly they were unwilling to go through the... Why haven't you made enough money this
short-term pain. They weren't willing to go through the short-term pain for the long-term gain.
It's funny.
That is the fucking problem.
Yeah, I haven't banned it yet, Trev. This is the short-term pain. Like they are looking at, they have said, we're going to sacrifice growth in the short term because we think this way forward is the best for our long term. They're sacrificing console sales and stuff now because they feel like this whole setup, the thing they're going, that it's literally what Amy Hood said. It's a long-term play. I haven't banned him yet, Assassin. I was kidding.
I don't know about that.
There is an armchair analyst.
It might be wrong, but it was the way they stated it to investors is we are going to potentially make less in the short term because we think this will help us grow in the long term. That's what Amy Hood said. You can disagree. I'm just saying that is their public facing, can't lie in public statement about it. Could be completely wrong.
Can we read out JD's community question, please?
JD. Let me just turn off dark mode because it's making the image look funny. JD, hey fellas, do you ever you wish you were younger again where you didn't know much about the industry? Because gaming feels like it's not as fun anymore because everybody thinks they're an investor in Microsoft or PlayStation caring about earnings reports. People do it in the Discord as well, and it just saps the fun because what we should be talking about is the games, not about whether they reach their subscriber
The main
goal.
issue is that talking about games doesn't make any money compared to console warring and talking about business.
That's right, because have a look. We've brought up this topic, which a lot of people are tired of, and I completely get that. Like we said right at the start of this, why is this a shock to everyone? Why is this controversial to everyone? You should expect it. But look how many people have been super chatting. And look, and that's not us saying, haha, we're getting your money. That's us saying,
We acknowledge that people want to talk about.
This seems to be what people want to talk about, whether you're tired of it or not. This appears, because I find that exhausting too. Like when I've got other podcasts on in the background.
Do you remember how bored we were talking about the FTC and Activision Blizzard? By the time we actually got there, we were like...
You know, when I have other podcasts on in the background and I hear them talk about all that stuff too, I kind of like semi-tune out and I'm like, oh my God, like... I totally get you. I completely understand it. But unfortunately, one of the byproducts of getting old is that you do start to see behind the curtain more and you do start to understand more. So I get it. I don't think it should sap the fun. Like, I still have a shit ton of fun playing video games, especially Rocket League.
Yeah.
I think he means more on the social media, being on the Discord, being on the forums.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I think... Like, I understand the sapping of the fun stuff. I just think... I don't know if you... I don't know how old you are, JD, but I don't know if gaming will ever feel the way it did for you as a kid, though.
Yeah.
Nothing will feel the same. Nostalgia is evil.
It can't. It's not that, though. Like,
it is.
It was a different time. Like
band writing.
You bought a game back then. It's sort of like how I always make that joke that kids are stupid and they love every movie. Just because they're going to see a movie at the cinema, they just love every movie they go to see. And there's an element of truth to that because there's a lot of movies I watch now that I watched as a kid, and I watch them now as an adult, and I'm like, this movie is shit. How did I enjoy this movie when I was a kid? And it's because I was a stupid kid. So I just enjoyed watching the movie. Like, there's an element of truth to that.
Yeah.
And games are the same. There's games we enjoyed as kids that Jesse bemoans retro games all the time. Like, there's games that we enjoyed as a kid that you play them as an adult and you're like, oh my God, this game plays like shit. But you're just a kid, so you just loved playing that video game. Like, look at kids now. Roblox is ass.
Is awful.
It's ass. Roblox is utter ass. But kids love it because it's just, look at all this dumb shit I can do. Because they don't care about how it feels. Like, so
the main thing is, it's the kids, especially both my kids. They only are interested in things if they can play them with someone else. And at the very least, it has to be something that's fun to watch when they stream it on Discord to their friends.
Yeah, I know.
Or their friends to watch. They have zero interest in just sitting there on their own and playing something. They're always talking with or hanging out with other people if they're doing that.
Yeah.
That's why Fortnite's so big. That's why Fortnite's so big.
That's why Helldivers is the one that took off. It's you just get some friends together and you play, and the game doesn't have to be amazing. Like, it plays really well, looks okay, doesn't have a ton of content, but you're with your friends having fun, and that just makes it infinitely better. We didn't miss a super chat.
Yeah, we'll get to him. Last one on this sort of topic, if you want, which is right down the bottom of the list.
Clutch Quando.
No, PG2G OEM consoles.
Oh, okay. Jesse, you
if
ready
you wanted
for that?
Was he on the forum or the Discord? Or
It is
forum.
Forum. Okay.
Forum.
Let's say Google.
And he actually, now that I'm looking at it, he kind of brings up stuff I had been thinking about the other day about OEM consoles. PG2G, who we haven't actually seen for a while. The concept of OEM consoles is not new. No, Sega fans especially know that. There was the Panasonic Q, but that was still made. Oh, that one's a little bit different. The Panasonic Q, which was a GameCube variant with DVD support, only sold in Japan. I tried to get a hold of one of those, and fuck me, it was expensive. JVC and High Saturn variants with karaoke or CD plus G support, and probably a bunch of others that also never left Japan. If OEM Xboxes became a thing next gen, what OEM would excite you, and what unique hardware or software capability would they add? And it's funny that, like, I don't mind the idea of OEM Xboxes. I actually don't mind it, because it's such a different world now to what it was 20, 30 years ago when Sega let JVC made the Wonder Mega, I want to say. Please correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. I think it was JVC that made the Wonder Mega, and a couple of others made Sega variants, but the world wasn't ready for that kind of stuff back then. Like, if you think everyone's stuck in their ways now, think about what it was like back then. And here's Sega allowing other hardware makers. Like, I look at, let me just quickly Google it to make sure I'm right. But I look at the Wonder Mega now, and I'm like, man, that thing would be awesome, because it played Mega Drive games and it played Sega CD games and it did everything. So it took Jesse's Tower of Power and it made it one sleek console. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. Why didn't I buy that? But the market wasn't ready for something like that. So I don't, in theory, I don't mind the concept of OEM consoles. Like, I don't mind that Samsung could come out and go, yeah, we'll make an Xbox that's even fucking cooler than Microsoft's one. And it does this. Like, we said it just before. Like, who is the primary reseller of Android? It would be Samsung. Again, I stand to be corrected on those figures, but every time I see someone with an Android phone, 9 out of 10 times, it's a bloody Samsung.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So I don't mind the idea of it if it's executed on properly. I could see LG.
What feature would excite you? Is what his question.
What OEM would excite you? So who would excite you? Well, I think Samsung. Samsung do good shit.
Yeah.
So I think Samsung could make a kick-ass Xbox.
I think my most excited would be Lenovo, because if they do it like the Legion Go, it would be so overkill. Because the Legion Go is huge. It has probably the best LCD screen I've ever seen. It looks almost as good as the OLED on the Steam Deck. And it has two USB-Cs that are both 40 gigabits per second, even though you never need that. Like, there's almost no reason, just because you can. So they'd have like an Xbox with 7 USB-Cs that are super fast for hooking up friggin' VR and other shit. I would be very excited to see the over-the-top nature of a Lenovo Xbox. Plus, they like us. Can you imagine if get one?
Can you imagine if Sony made one?
It just like sets fire to your house or something.
So
like
Sony's got
PlayStation
and an Xbox,
and they finally go all out on their PlayStation 6, make it as good looking as they can. Like, they finally hire someone they get like Panos Panay or his team or someone. They just do everything they can to then make their Xbox the ugliest hunk of shit of all time.
Yeah. It'd be so funny if Sony made one, like, independent of PlayStation. It was like Sony, like
the Sony Xbox,
like the TV arm of Sony. That's like, yeah, fuck up, we'll make an Xbox. Let's go.
There's some really cool possibilities, right? You talked about Samsung. Like, think about if there's a handheld version, right?
And it's that one that's 11 and a half inches from friggin' Acer. No, I want that.
Like that.
For my eyes.
A handheld version, so it's small. Okay, well, LG and Samsung as TV manufacturers jump on board and they take the APU and everything from that and they put it in the back of their next generation TVs, and it's got the ability to connect the pads, and boom, you've got a handheld version of the Xbox embedded directly in the television, not cloud, direct native hardware, because it's small enough to do that. Imagine
we've talked about that before.
Plugging any VR headset in to the new generation of Xbox, because it supports any VR headset, because it supports everything a PC does.
Well, then you would still need the breaker box for the PSVR 2.
Yeah, but like that is a tantalizing prospect.
Yeah,
And
I
we
can-
talk about, we've mentioned it several times in this show about our kids, and all they really give a fuck about is playing the PC games that their favorite streamers and YouTube creators are playing. If they could give an option to parents where it does that, hey, it does everything a PC does, but it is marginally cheaper.
Yeah.
That's an attractive proposition. Again,
Yeah.
there is so many different things that could happen from an OEM perspective.
It's very hard with PCs to know what you're getting. An Xbox branded OEM that can play PC games would be this thing that you could trust more. It's one of the hardest
things. Have a baseline of performance.
Because like the only way you know what you're getting is essentially you look into every part, because like SSDs and memory, there's 8 trillion people that make them. You have no idea what the quality is. If you're getting an actual good OEM that isn't like an old Alienware that just heats up horribly for no goddamn reason, other than they forgot that ventilation has to exist, it would be a very good thing for grandmas to not feel confused if they're going to get their incredibly lucky grandkids computer.
I can totally see a world where they do a deal with Tesla to get Xbox hardware in a Tesla or in other EVs.
Yeah.
And that would be cool as shit.
Yeah.
That sort of thing would be cool. That's the Xbox everywhere part that I'm totally on board for.
Very
that
interesting.
aspect of it, completely on board for.
And at least in that regard, that is interesting. That is exciting.
Yeah,
to a
that
degree,
part
right?
is.
Like
that part
and
of it is.
I put that post out on the forums, like after reading through the Xbox multi-platform discussion thread, as it just goes round and round the same points over and over and over. Little challenge for everyone. If you frequent that thread, we know the negatives. We know the worst case scenarios here. Xbox hardware falls off a cliff, as it's already doing. It stops producing, and we lose all of our investment over 10, 20 years of the console. Great. Okay, I understand that. Challenge. What are the good things that could happen? I just want to understand. Can anyone run that thought scenario instead of the repeated doom?
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Both of you shut up, because we need to congratulate our 2 newest Patreon members, Rayoid and Bruno Lopez.
Welcome to the
Rayoid. I always thought Rayoid was a patron.
No, it says new paid member.
Did he rejoin? Yeah. Maybe he rejoined.
He joined the contributor, and Bruno Lopez joined the fan tier. Thank you very much.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, Rayoid. I felt like you were a patron at one point. Please remind me.
And as a reminder,
he has been pledged for 2 hours in history, so no. Brand new. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny? Rayoid goes, put the Tesla in auto drive and boot up some Forza Horizon 5, lol. Could you imagine? Like someone fucks with their own brain and they're driving while also playing Forza Horizon 5? Like,
or you could use the Tesla wheel as a controller for your Forza Horizon 5.
Oh my God, is someone just... But... as someone who's sort of on their side in terms of not wanting them to do this and all that, there are things, like I feel like there are things Microsoft are probably doing behind the scenes to help alleviate some of these problems. Like, but it'd be nice if they are doing them, communicate it and alleviate some of those fears for people. Like, they're probably working this whole Xbox OS we keep hearing rumors about, and that they've kind of touched on themselves about how we want to have an OS that's like wherever. If you're working on it, tell people, hey, relax, guys, your 360 games, your OG games, they're all going to work on these things going forward. You're not going to lose this shit. It'd be just nice if they could be a little more communicative about the things that could help people with their fears about this stuff. Yeah, because you got to remember, you can give people shit all you want and say stop your crying and stop console warrioring and blah 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 blah. But in the end, those people are still the hardcore. Those people are still the people that are primarily responsible for most of the Game Pass subs and buying dozens of consoles and limited edition versions and all the different controllers. So we are still primarily responsible for what's driving all of this. So I don't think it's quite right to be completely dismissive.
No, I agree. I'm not dismissing the concerns, and I never have.
And
But
I don't think
also am
Phil
just
or any of
saying-
them ever would either. But I would like to cut you off, John. And I do apologize. How did
That's
we
all right.
just we just gained on? Go look at the Patreon. See what your emails say, because we went from one number a month and now it's a lot bigger, and I don't know why. I don't want to say more.
Okay.
I'll type it to you,
Okay.
but I'm very confused. It's a good thing.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything different on mine, but anyway. Okay, so we've done that topic. This all started with Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5, and
It was a broad discussion. It was a broad
Holy
discussion.
shit. I think these timestamps are just going to be Forza Horizon 5 comes to PS5, Xbox multi-plat talk, and then I'm just going to leave that timestamp to itself.
Yeah.
I got all the community questions up. I think I figured it out. It's because we were just so close to the threshold of how they report it.
Now, what else should we talk about? Should we talk about how
I removed a lot of stuff. It's just some main topics. If you want to touch them or not. If you want to.
Yeah, let's
diddle
talk
them.
about the fact that Herman wasn't demoted, and Sony's situation, because it's relevant too, because Sony appears to be, as we've always said, I say we, have always said, slowly Sony will also go the... We've called PC day and date for PlayStation from years ago, but we just said it was going to happen extremely slowly versus what Microsoft did. And we are seemingly heading in that direction.
And
so
we
Sony...
see, we see why it's slow, because that Spider-Man 2 port is not very good. Again,
Yeah, lots
apparently,
of
I'm
issues
shocked.
with the launch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
mixers are usually like...
I know.
Mixers are like fucking on the money.
I remember,
Like,
I think Miles Morales was okay. I don't know. Weird.
yeah, it is weird that
And
this
they didn't
one's not
promote.
in
They
great
did not promote
shape.
it at all. So maybe they just didn't give it a budget because it hasn't gotten a bunch of players.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like, I mean, the telltale signs were there when they were literally not building it up or hyping it up or letting anyone know it's coming.
Yeah,
It was just...
it hit a new peak today of 27.7 thousand on Steam.
That's good.
It's a lot less than their first wave of PC got a lot more than their later releases have.
I would say it is interesting to me. Like, if you rewind where Microsoft games were coming out in less than stellar fashion as they worked out this whole
And Phil
doing
get
both.
very mad.
Yeah, day and day. I'm like, yeah, Sony are now going through those same pains
Growing
of
pains.
development, of multi-platform development. It is hard. And I think that's also why you'll see, we talk about all this talk about exclusives. I still think there'll be a lot of time. We talk about day and date for Forza Horizon 6. It also wouldn't surprise me to see a 6-month window like Indiana Jones, where the Xbox teams, first-party teams, focus on their PC and Xbox versions first, and then they follow up and they catch up a little bit. Not
Well,
for
maybe-
everything, but
Maybe that's where the exclusivity lies.
Yeah,
in timed exclusivity.
That's
on
what
the
Jez and Rand have
single-player
said, where that's the only
stuff.
exclusivity you would expect to see. In large part, it's just due to teams like
Sizes,
wanting to. They haven't worked on that hardware a ton. They want to keep working on it. They want to be as cute as this adorable little puppy who wants some attention real bad. It's the whole slate can go over, but there's the realistic problems of doing that. It's really hard the more platforms you have. Like, the more platforms you have, the more you have to test for, the more issues you run into.
Yep.
So there will be
games
times
are
it
really
just,
hard to
you know,
make.
Yeah. Yeah, so they've no more co-CEOs of PlayStation. It's now just the one gentleman whose name is
Nishino.
I'll need to
Hideaki Nishino.
Hideaki
There you go,
Nishino. And Herman is now just running the first party
He has
business,
the
basically.
same job without the CEO role, essentially.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not. I know everyone was getting smart, saying, "Ha ha ha, demotion." Technically, not a demotion. I guess just. I don't want to talk about it from that perspective because anyway. Yes. So I've seen a lot of like celebration on Twitter and stuff like that. I don't know if you should be celebrating because Herman is still running the first party business, which is what you were kind of complaining about in terms of what he was doing.
Well, they were celebrating that he might have been demoted. Is that what people were happy about?
There was some celebration about him being demoted, I think, because at the moment, so because PlayStation's first party's not in the greatest spot at the moment in so much as like quantity. Quality, I still don't think is too much of an issue. Quantity is definitely an issue. Like, it's funny that we got so many articles over so many years about Xbox having no games, but we don't seem to see those same articles at the moment. Because, yes, PlayStation has credits in the bank, but that's now a couple of lean years from PlayStation first party. It's not just the one-off now. And again, I'm going to toot our own horn and say that they were heading in this direction. Remember, I got clipped and laughed at for saying PlayStation might only make one game, and we got to a year where they basically just did only make one game from first party. This was the direction they were heading in, which is why they've been trying to buy studios, because they know that if you're making $300, $400, $500 million games, they take a long time. If you want to get more games out, either fucking make cheaper games or get more studios.
Yeah.
You got to do all money hat everything.
Which,
that's the other way around.
Assassin has just dropped a super chat in that regard with regards to kind of that timed exclusive money hat point of view.
Yes. Timed exclusivity won't work. How many years have Xbox fans waited for Final Fantasy VII Remake? Gamers are a patient bunch. Also, Jesse, 5 or 10?
I have no idea what it means.
We're finding out. We
10.
did miss a super chat.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure we cover it.
There's actually a couple of super chats we've missed because they weren't relevant to the topics we were talking about.
Okay.
Not just Clutch Kwando had one. Forget Microsoft going third party. Nick, where's my Gears collection, mate? It's still coming.
Everyone seems to agree it exists in some form, including Ecstasis saying he paid a bunch of money to find out that it's real.
In some form, eh?
No. Gears collection's real. It always was. I don't know how many more times I can say where I made my mistake with the Gears collection. The other super chat, I was going to save it for later, but I guess now is... Oh, God, YouTube's about to crash again. I know, because I'm scrolling up.
I am curious. Is it because we're on super low latency? Maybe I should just go to low. I don't know why YouTube crashes so much here. It does not crash during my streams where I'm on normal.
Where is that super chat? I'm trying to find it.
What one are you trying to find?
It's the one about the indie game that's...
It's Yabba Altara, and he says, hi,
can you please reach out to Berserk Boy Dev, saying Xbox doesn't like him, even though it was announced 3 years ago on ID at Xbox YouTube channel. So there's a game that was announced for Xbox on ID at Xbox, and now it's seemingly not coming to Xbox.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Berserk Boy.
Yeah.
If it's anything like the other thing, depending on the country you're in, they have so many hoops to jump through now after they got hacked by Russia that they just have no idea you're trying to reach out to them. That is what happened with
I
the
would bet it's just a lack of communication, so he's just given up.
Yeah, that was the Anotria the Last Song thing, which came out in December, and no one cared.
But that even relates to all this stuff we've been talking about. Like, look how many games skip Xbox. And look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. And look at...
It's less than ever.
It's such a... Yeah. What's less than ever?
The games that skip. Their third-party support is about the best it's been.
I mean, to be fair to what Jesse is trying to say,
they still
I will say it in a less blunt way, there were enormous issues with third-party support. Also, there were enormous issues with games being paid to not release on Xbox by their competitors. However, developers like Square Enix, Capcom, Sega have finding enormous success in no longer accepting those deals because their games weren't fucking selling.
But even Capcom and Sega still skip here and there.
but each time that
Here
those
and
things
there.
have come up, they have been technology issues that have then caught up, right? Like it hasn't been like we're not releasing on Xbox because what's the point?
Yes.
I think is what
and I'm
Jesse's trying to
sure
say. It was like
I'm
that
sure a
in the
lot of
past.
it is me falling victim to Assassin with another 10 gifted
Risk It
memberships.
got
Wow.
one.
Risk It got one. I still don't have one. Lamingo Dar has one. Stig Red Terror
That's why I said
Beck
10.
Nation Harris. Cullen Prime El Nini Duck with Muscles Cody Fletch
Duck
and
with
Teddy
muscles.
P.
But I
Yep.
just wanted to know why you asked 5 or 10 because I have gotten 3,000 DMs about Avowed since we were allowed to say
Now
I'm
I
reviewing
know
it.
what the 5 or 10 was about.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can't give any hints or anything about Avowed. Everyone's asking performance modes. Can't say anything. If it has them, if it doesn't, I have no idea. Go look at
Yeah,
Extasis'
there was a
Twitter.
rumor about it, right? So
Was there? What was the rumor?
it does
That it has performance modes?
apparently. I don't know. I've not
Extasis
got it.
tweeted that some information on it. If you search online for that, you'll find an article I wrote for SEO.
I don't need to. What was I going to say? Yes, I admit that I am probably falling victim to the social media highlighting the mostly indie games that skip Xbox, and it probably looks worse than it actually is because social media highlights that stuff. In terms of big third-party games, it's really mostly Square.
It was.
Yeah.
And Square, that relationship, my point is that relationship has been healed, right?
The Square CEO who was all about exclusives got booted for one who was all
And I
about
would
being
also
everywhere.
say
Yeah.
they've made some really good examples with previously exclusive series like Persona and Yakuza, where they've been like, hey, we make a concerted effort, and now those audiences on Xbox are massive.
Funny enough,
So-
we've just seen it with one of our later stories with MLB The Show. It got
Yeah.
on there, they built up an audience, and now it's like, I think for everyone involved, it just makes sense. If enough people are going to buy it, you don't have to keep doing Game Pass deals.
Yeah. So yes, Assassin. It's funny, despite the fact that fanboys on Twitter think I said Final Fantasy VII Remakes coming to Xbox, I actually said the complete opposite to that. So I find it funny that they still persist with somehow me saying, they're like, hey Nick, where's Final Fantasy VII Remake? I'm like, I'm the one that said I don't think it is coming. Like ever. I don't know why you keep attributing me to saying it's coming. 16, fuck yeah, I said it's coming. And it will. 16, don't worry about that. 7, I never said 7. I was actually the anti-Jez. I was like, as far as I'm aware, Sony doesn't want to let 7 Remake go. As far as I'm aware. Because I thought there was a deal in place for 7 Remake. That Sony would...
What we saw publicly, at the very least, they had a long one that was extended with Intergrade. But Intergrade did have an end date, but then that end date came, nothing happened. So common sense was, if they're not doing it, there might be more to that. And then it just turned out it's essentially Square lost the capacity to do multi-platinum ports pretty hard.
Yeah.
And they've been building that back up, and it was really bad with 16, and it's okay, not great, but okay with Rebirth, which, by the way, I also played this week. I have no fucking idea how that game is at 93. Oh my god, it is the crazy.
Nostalgia drugs.
The gameplay's fun. It looks nice. It has some, but it's extremely Eastern Japanese culture directly translated to English, and it's insanely cringy. Like,
Do you know what I think a lot of this
you know
is all
why
about?
it's a 93.
It's all about the console wars, isn't it? Hey, look at that beautiful retail edition, cellophane wrapped. Oh yeah. How cool, how sexy is that? Look at that. Look at that, people.
Look at John's Kyo.
Look at my Kyo. But look how gorgeous it is. Isn't that like the loveliest thing? This is, if you've backed this is what's coming your way. It's all official.
If you
It's all
back
wrapped in this
the super
stuff.
edition there. You also have the regular.
I do, but it's not here in this room with me. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah,
Console wars will live on, people, even if Microsoft bail out of it. If the war is over, you can still relive the glory days, making your own
The
exclusive
war
lists.
is in fact over, so you need to go buy that when it's on sale in April.
Buy
Yeah.
Console Wars, the card game,
On
when it launches at
Amazon.
retail after our backers
Yeah, we
have
should
got it.
get that on Phil's shelf. should.
I will probably just send one to Phil, to be fair. I just love to see it in the background because it's actually
the
really
book's
fun.
there. So now we just need to get the card game there. So yes, that was slight tangents on Sony's streamlining their CEO situation.
I thought the next one
We've
was
always-
really funny and just so stupid.
We fully expect. I've always expected Sony to eventually go day and date on PC. I just wonder what's taking so long with their launcher. I'd heard ages ago they were working on a PC launcher, so I'm wondering.
Their store is a mess. Like they've gotten it better
they
with the
abandoned
PS5. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if they've abandoned it. I don't know if they're changing it. I don't know if they're still working on it. I don't know what they're doing.
I think they have to want to have it.
Where are we going?
Yeah, John,
next?
as SJ says, Phil still won't come onto an interview, John, even if you send him the card game, motherfucker.
Yeah, you can't bribe him with a card game.
Why have you got to be this way with me, SJ, man? Like, why? have you
Well,
gotta-
because we're only 2 weeks away or so from goddamn episode 250. And
we haven't
we're
got
not,
anything cool lined
we're
up.
not
I
here
know.
promoting anything on episode 2. We literally have nothing we're going to say this week. Maybe we'll have something by next week, John. But you know what? Probably not. Because darn heck
the
you.
problem is, I was semi-teasing it for episode 200, but, I had Phil locked
Someone
in for
had to
episode
write
200.
about Starfield, didn't he?
It was nice. It was going to be this nice thing where we get Phil on 100,
Yeah,
get him
I
on
know.
200, get him on
300.
300, and just keep bringing him on every 100
Look,
episodes.
As much as
Well,
I
I
might
killed it.
As much as
Killed
I
it
might
dead.
hate John and make fun of him about it, this wasn't going to be the first place Phil talked about after the 4 games being ported thing
Yeah.
started.
We
Doesn't change the fact that I had him locked
I
in.
know.
He was appearing on episode 200.
Maybe he'll be out at dinner and he'll pop his phone out and we'll give him the StreamYard link,
episode 300, Nick.
I'm sure
We'll go for
Microsoft
that.
PR would love that.
We can grill him, community. We can grill him for
Yes,
you.
yeah. What about
we can
Halo?
ask
What
him
about
the
Halo?
hard
What about
questions.
Everything,
Yeah.
everything.
We can ask him the hard questions and say, Phil, you better
What
promise
the
me a
fuck?
console going forward. And if Xbox stops making consoles, Phil, you're gonna make me a console, Phil.
Yeah, personal guarantee.
You're gonna make one in your house and then give it to me for
Ooh.
free.
Could we get Jim Ryan for episode 250?
Oh my god.
That'd
That'd be amazing. That'd be so good.
Dear.
I do want to get I want to try and get Shu on.
Yeah, he would probably.
I'd
not
love
come
to
on
get
our
Shu
show, mate.
Yoshida on. That'd be cool as.
He would not come on our show. Come on.
Why?
Get
He's
many,
not PlayStation anymore.
Yeah, but
Like,
he doesn't know
come
us.
on. Like, he doesn't know who the fuck we are for.
Connie Booth, John Cleese's former wife.
He's good knowledge.
He's
there.
liked some
Okay.
of my tweets before. Shu. I'd love to get him on.
Donald Trump. No, Gary, I don't think we will.
Donald Trump.
Be the best show.
I love Xbox. Xbox is huge.
he
It's
did-
fantastic.
He did sign.
American console.
He signed the
Yeah.
executive orders for tariffs tonight.
Yeah, will
Jim
everything
Ryan is
go
in
up
the
in
chat.
price? Jim! Jim's
There's
here.
Jim. Hey, there's Jimbo.
We used to
Good
have
on
Phil
him.
Spencer in the chat all the time. He doesn't show up anymore. John.
Yeah, he doesn't
Oh
show
my
up
god!
anymore.
Stop being
Yeah.
mean to me. Jesus
You know,
Christ.
If-
Xbox is a great company. It's
You
an
do know
American
what-
company.
Episode 250 is going to be us just saying how much we hate John. If Phil's
Yeah,
not
it's
on.
just gonna be
Yeah.
it's just gonna be me in the stocks that
The
you guys throw
tariffs.
rotten vegetables.
Tariffs are coming in so that we can bring Xbox home and make it in America.
Make
It's
Xbox
huge.
great again.
Yeah.
Oh, Japes.
Makes
Oh,
me
man.
laugh. I'm not going to lie. He makes me laugh. Where are we going to next?
The next news story I thought was funny. We found out.
Co-founder.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, Co-founder of Treyarch pleads guilty after flying drone into firefighting rescue plane. So during the LA, if you remember the story, we talked about it, I think a little bit, the fires in LA, one of the Canadian firefighting planes that dips down, pulls up water and drops it in, was grounded for a while because somebody flew a drone into it. Turns out that was one of the co-founders of Treyarch.
Whoops.
Oh, wow. He was living out Call of Duty, one of those levels from Call of Duty where you fly a drone and shoot missiles and stuff.
On The Verge, they wrote that now authorities have traced the drone back to him. He agreed Friday to plead guilty, possibly escaping a year in prison.
Say his name. Who was it again?
Wow.
It was Peter Aikman.
Peter Aikman, not the other guy.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
He's escaped a year in prison in exchange for 150 hours of community service in support of wildfire relief and probably $65,000 in repair costs.
It is essentially when you're rich enough, you can buy your way out of prison in America.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I assume no one was hurt at least.
No, it stopped a firefighting plane from being able to work during the most costly fires, I think, in our history. So a lot of people were hurt because of it.
Hey, Tom, I never said I was doing a good impression of Trump. I'm not saying my impression of him is good. You know who does a great impression of Trump? That dude that sells the LCD signs. You know that LCD sign guy? Oh my God. He's hilarious. China, China, China. He does it so well. Multiverses, eh?
Fucking game.
John's favorite.
I don't like it. All right. I'm sorry for the developers that it's shutting down, but I don't think it played very well. So
I didn't mind it when I tried it out. I thought it was fine. To me, it just felt like Smash Brothers.
It did
I do.
If they were stoned.
I do. Nah, it felt pretty much exactly the same.
It definitely.
I do like though. Like I don't know if this has been done before. Is this like the first time? It's the first time I recall ever seeing it happen, where a free-to-play game that has failed and is shutting down is still going to remain offline playable going forward.
Yeah, it will be delisted, so it's not the first time. One of the EA ones made an offline mode before it went offline, like the
Rocket Squad.
Yeah, it was either Rocket Squad or the throwing one. Dodge City.
Rocket,
no, the dodgeball one I think allowed PC people to do something, and not for consoles.
Oh, yeah.
I assume this is for consoles too. So
I
basically, it's free to play Smash Brothers offline. That's still pretty good. Like, I think that's a good thing.
I mean, it's good. It's good of them to do that. Yes.
Yeah, I reckon that's great. And stuff like that. I wish more people in the industry would highlight shit like that.
It will be delisted.
That's a really good thing.
So just make sure you redeem it as a free game before May.
But for those that know, and please chat, if anyone in the chat knows how Multiverses works, how will that work in terms of if I want to get every character in Multiverses?
I think they'll just unlock all the characters. Surely,
there's a lot of people who bought the $100 Founders Pack who are very pissed about it all.
Well,
but I am curious. Yeah. Well, I mean, they've got a blog post with an FAQ, so maybe I should go read that FAQ to find out what happens. Like, do we just get every character unlocked and we can just play? I don't mind that. I think that's cool. I'm just curious.
If it's anything, the X Defiant just unlocked everything, but it will go offline fully because that is an online game.
Will it?
Yeah, but they unlocked everything.
Okay.
So it'd also be no longer available to download. So it's totally delisted, Nick. You have to have it installed.
Yeah. Which one?
Multiverses, yes. It will no longer be available.
So you won't even be able to re-download it?
No, you have to have it downloaded and installed before it goes. That's why I said full delisting.
Shit. Okay.
Why they have to delist it? Like, why not just leave it up for free? Like,
it's probably licensing stuff, even with their own.
But it's their licenses,
doesn't matter,
isn't it?
Doesn't matter.
Come on,
because when people pay for licensing, I don't know, it's all super complicated and dumb, and they stopped doing characters and other things because of Multiverses. So if you want to see like characters in Fortnite again, this is good, quote unquote, news for you.
Okay, so will Multiverses content be available for purchase with real money during or after Season 5? As of today, 31st of Jan 2025, real money transactions are no longer available for Multiverses. Unused Gleamium and character tokens can still be used to access and purchase content in-game until the end of Season 5 on May 30th. So you can't use real money anymore. It looks like it's saying all new content in Season 5 will be earnable through gameplay. Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do that.
I don't think they're going to care
access
because the
Multiverses-
game's just not going to exist.
To access Multiverses offline on more than one supported platform, players must make sure to complete the process on each respective platform. This process requires players to install, download the latest version of the game during Season 5 on each platform and log in on each platform before May 30. After logging in, a local save file will be automatically created connected to a PlayStation Network, Microsoft Store, Steam, or Epic Store. Did that not come out on Switch? Multiverses.
No idea.
Interesting. To enjoy the game offline with all earned and purchased content moving forward.
Jason's got the answer for us in a super chat.
Jason, I just figured out why YouTube crashes so often during this show. Nick's wave file is too large. Is too large to stream.
Only thing I can think of is I got to get off ultra low latency, and I'm going to knock us up to 1440p low latency.
Yeah, let's see what it's like next week.
Yeah, because I've had 8 or 9, and I get 0 during gameplay video ones where it's on normal latency.
You know what? What time is it? Holy crap! That's probably
That was it.
All the news.
Yep.
That's everything.
I mean, there was a lot more news, but yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it in the headlines. It's fine.
Yep.
Should we go to a game show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of name a game.
Let's shall.
And we're back for a super chat.
Yeah, not name a game. We'll do that
super
next.
Yeah, we're back for a super chat. Assassin, is it just me or are Western publishers making the dumbest decisions? WB, EA, Ubisoft, and others are suffering for the dumbest things. Meanwhile, Capcom, Sega, Bandai are better than they've ever been.
Nope, they all were just down the last quarter, year over year. Those ones he named. Like, funnily enough, they're all down. Everyone's down. So nope, they're all
prices are down.
Yeah. If you look at the financials in gaming right now, it's not good if you're an investor or someone who plays them, because we need the investors happy.
Yeah, Trav, don't you watch Looney Tunes, Trav? Don't the two squirrels or rodents or whatever in Looney Tunes that talk? Yeah, they talk in those posh accents.
Shall.
And yeah, one of them's like, "Shall we?" And the other one's like, "Let's shall."
Let's shall.
Indubitably. I love those two little guys.
All right. It's time for Name a Game. If you are new here, or even if you're not, this is the weekly game show where Nick and I do battle for 2 wonderful patrons from our wonderful Patreon community. So for the new people that signed up today, you could be in for a chance to win a game code when Nick and I will act as a champion for you if you're lucky enough to be chosen. This week, Nick is playing for...
I am playing for Dexter Hendricks.
And I am playing for Luke Sewell. Sewell?
Yep.
Sewell? Sewell? Okay, let's go with that. Like Luke the actor. Sewell. Like the actor, the guy that's got the Sewell surname, right?
Who?
Can't remember.
I've only ever known that surname to be pronounced as Sewell. Sewell.
But yes, that's who we're playing for. Jesse, what's the theme this week, my friend?
Yeah, I've gone back to the old well. Games we are now top critics on.
Oh, very on brand.
Every review
so isn't that
done.
games we've reviewed?
Yeah, that's why I said I've gone back to the old well of 737 games I can choose from. Which always helps with John because he actually pays attention to what we review as our editor-in-chief.
Which means no retro reviews.
I mean, there's retro reviews. I've done some. My first review was a retro review.
I won't be winning this one. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty tired, so you might be in with a chance. I'm pretty slow today on the uptake.
Gentlemen, number 1. Secret, no in German, : understanding. Sick.
Unknown 9 Awakening.
Correct.
Nice.
Reviewed by the very own Fairway Empire.
Yes.
Never even heard of that game.
Well,
it's getting completely cancelled as an entire franchise.
it was the one that
now.
was going to be a franchise,
yeah,
remember?
that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So did well. Did well. Next question.
Number 2, one we reviewed. Mystical Exquisiteness. Mystical Exquisiteness.
Ah, shit. I do know this game, don't I?
Mystical exquisiteness. Exquisiteness.
Shit.
Brothers Grimm, I am turning 43 this year. I'm not too young.
Mystical.
No. I reckon I know.
You
this.
have 10, 9, 8,
don't know
7,
if I know this.
6,
I don't want to give
5,
him the first word.
4,
Give him the second
3, reviewed by
Give me the
Chengiz
first
on Game Pass last year in July. 1, 0, Magical Delicacy.
Oh, of course, yeah.
word. Okay, I didn't know that. I knew it was magical something, and I just didn't know the second word. And I'm like, if I say magical, he'll know the second word.
I had magical in my head, but I could not think of the second word. So
I didn't know
okay.
the second word. So
I
yeah.
didn't either. There you go. We
Magical
both lose.
Delicacy.
We both lose.
I think the one game that lists itself as Play Anywhere, but is not in fact Play Anywhere, though it has the tag on the store. A little bit of trivia for you in the trivia game. Gentlemen, the next one. This is one word. Those stupid plant holders shaped like animals. Those stupid plant holders shaped like
I don't
animals.
know the name for those. I don't know the name for those. I know what you're describing. I just don't know if there's a word for them.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I reviewed this
I have
one.
no idea.
It was a day one port. So not a day one launch,
Stupid
but a day one port that I reviewed last
Plant
year.
holders.
I think in July. I think it was
Shaped
also July last year.
Animals.
Starting the
What's the
timer.
genre?
Open world.
Oh, fucking hell.
I don't know. I know what you're describing.
Zelda
I just don't know.
Breath
I don't
of the
know
Child.
the name for them.
Chia.
Ah,
Chia.
Is that the name for those things?
had no idea.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
Chia is probably the American term for it, but I don't care if it's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Chat
I did
got
not
it.
know that.
Alvin, the chipmunk. All right, gentlemen. The next one's a lot more than one word. You will probably not get this one. It was reviewed by Chengiz. It is Superman's dad's sibling and the ultimate salient contest of the universe.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I know it's going to be one of those JRPGs.
I don't think this is a JRPG.
It's not a JRPG?
No.
I don't know. I don't know comic books enough to know who Superman's uncle
Come on,
is.
who was Russell? What was the name of Russell Crowe's character in Superman?
Russell Crowe was his dad.
Yes, Superman's dad. Oh, dad's brother.
Superman. So it's
shit.
his uncle. So Superman's uncle.
Yeah.
I don't know Superman's uncle.
Was it?
No,
It's Oswald.
Superman's
They weren't
dad
related.
is one word. Sibling is the next word.
Oh, okay.
Notice the space.
Oh.
What was Superman's dad's name in Man of Steel?
Yeah, but you've got Superman's dads with an apostrophe on dad. That's why I thought it was the
yeah,
uncle.
yeah.
Superman's
implies
dad's
ownership.
AKA name, (S), space. Then what would
Okay.
sibling be?
Oh.
I know. Okay, I've remembered his name.
I don't remember.
This
his
is a
name.
point-and-click adventure game. Chengiz reviewed on his own from Brazil. No one in chat has gotten it because it is not a well-known game. I chose it for how stupid my thing was.
The ultimate salient contest of the universe.
If you even get close on this one, I'll give you the point.
How
Starting
close
the
is
timer.
close?
9,
Oh,
8, 7, 6,
I don't know.
5, 4, 3, 3.
It's Jarell. Jarell. Kal-El is Jarell.
I thought this would be the one you
name.
wouldn't get, not the previous two. Jor-El's brother in the most important game of the galaxy.
That's the name
Are you
of the
serious?
game?
Is that the name of the game?
When I saw that in our OpenCritic listing from Chengiz, I was like, that's the stupidest name I've ever heard for
Amazing.
something. I love it. I'm putting it
Because
in.
all I got was brother, and that was pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
it.
I got Jarell.
So say it again. Jarell's brother.
In the most important game of the galaxy.
Oh my god.
I know. It's a real game that we reviewed, Nick. All right, next one. Zero sleeping for the evil. John.
No Rest for the Wicked.
Correct.
That's not even out officially yet, technically, to review.
You did an early access review.
You can pay for it. You can review it.
Oh, okay.
That is my stance. If it costs money, it can be reviewed. What the Dream Raptor said in Jurassic Park. Arise. Dose. 3 words.
Alan Wake 2.
Oh, did you clicked buzzer, but it wasn't cleared yet, right, John?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
You hadn't
yeah.
cleared it.
No,
Okay.
I hadn't cleared yet. So, wow, a sweep for John.
I said he was going to win. I said he would win.
Oh, come on, Alan Wake 2 is not something you couldn't get.
As soon as
I
what the Dream Raptor said, I was like,
Alan.
Wilford Brimley Alien movie. 1 word.
What? Sorry?
What?
Wilford Brimley Alien movie.
1 word.
Yeah. Mid-80s Alien movie, I think. He was the old guy in The Thing. It's not The Thing, because that's 2 words.
Who's Wilford Brimley?
The old guy in The Thing, diabetes. Old man with a big mustache. Wilford.
No.
You can look up a word. You can type Wilford Brimley into Google image search.
Wilford Brimley Alien movie, and that's the name of a game.
Yeah,
review.
1 word. Recent review, won many Game of the Year awards. It was up there for John in 2023 after he reviewed it. Nick.
Cuckoo?
Correct.
Oh, of course, yeah. Fair enough.
I could have
course I
said,
get it
what
now.
if I said Don Amici Alien movie? Would that have helped?
Of course I
No.
get it now.
All right.
It's my
Buzzer's
plan
cleared.
all along.
For funsies,
To answer them after I've lost.
Keanu Reeves' signature line. Extended, sinful lineage. Keanu Reeves' signature line. Extended,
Oh.
sinful lineage. You get a buzz if
Oh,
you want.
shit.
I reviewed this one.
Yeah, but I don't know the rest of this. I only know the start.
Hmm.
I don't know the rest of this. Like, the extended is throwing me now. The extended is throwing me.
It shouldn't.
Why?
Because if you get the first thing, there's only one thing that I reviewed recently within the last couple of years that would work with it.
I think I know it, but
Mhm.
I can't remember the bit for.
Am I getting
Sinful
confused
lineage.
as to what Keanu Reeves' signature line is?
Yes.
I would
Isn't
presume.
his
I'll help
signature
you out. His signature line is
Whoa.
Yeah, so whoa
Whoa.
long, but I can't remember the rest of the game.
Oh,
Woe long.
Woe long. I had WoW in my mind. Like
Wow,
World of
that's-
Warcraft.
It's Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. So I had WoW.
Okay.
Woe.
All right.
Woe long. Oh,
Woe long.
I know
Yeah.
Woe long.
Yeah.
Woe long
Yeah,
is
but what's-
Fallen Dynasty.
Correct.
Ah, there you go.
All right. 3-2.
I was
Can
had
Nick
WoW
come
in
back?
my head. I'm like, wow. World of Warcraft. I'm like, what's World of Warcraft extended? What's WoW extended?
Sure. All right. Oh, it's already shown on stream. Batman and Superman's mom is deceased. 3 words.
Oh,
John.
fuck, you beat me.
All right, mate, calm down. Yeah, it's only a game. Martha is dead.
Correct.
Why did you say the name?
Reviewed by Stop It.
Martha.
And that'll do it. John's now up 4-2. I've changed the rules now. They all count. But John wins. Nick can't catch up.
Oh, I got so angry because I knew that one straight away.
Why did you say that name?
I don't have a voice
Martha
changer.
is dead.
Anyway,
Man.
what's the next one?
Last one. The lowest rated game we ever scored on OpenCritic. It's
Is this one word?
4 words. No, it's the lowest rated game we ever scored on OpenCritic. By
Okay,
me.
you
Oh,
reviewed
no.
it, and I
Exactly,
think you
Nick.
gave it a 3. You gave it a 1.
It was completely broken, and when the few times it did kind of work, it was horrendously bad in every way. Because this was for John at the end. It was the last one for him because Nick doesn't pay attention to anything we do. Nick, you looked it up?
Gollum?
No, John never fucking reviewed Gollum after taking
I
the
couldn't,
code.
mate. I couldn't play it.
Oh.
It was so bad.
I played more
It
than him on
broke on me
stream.
within like 10 seconds. I was
See,
like,
there you go. That's why I thought it was
do you know, the
Gollum.
funny thing is the PR guys were like, hey, how's the review coming on? And I emailed them back and I was like, guys, do you really want me to add to this pile-on? Like, I would just leave this here. Like, I don't want to write it. You probably don't want to read it. It's like,
Okay.
It was
I don't know.
Demolish and Build Classic.
oh.
I don't know.
There you go.
There you
Just
go.
to see if you guys pay attention at all. And you've once again disappointed me because you don't.
I don't know. I won. I got more than I thought I would. Congratulations, Luke. You have won a free video game from Jesse's big sack of video games. So reach
knew I'd
out
lose
to
that
him,
one.
grab his hairy sack, and rummage around for a bit because inside is a delicious treat for you to enjoy.
I knew I'd lose that one.
British people are always so
Never mind,
creepy.
We're
Okay.
going to round off the show now with the remaining community questions.
But before that, we're going
We
to
have
talk about how much we love our patrons.
John doesn't because he
'Cause
doesn't
they
let Phil
are-
Spencer on the show.
They are key to everything we do.
I keep
our
I keep
patrons.
getting bullied by them, and it's actually starting to have a really detrimental effect on my mental health.
Yeah.
Don't you joke about that, but I literally got told that by someone who did something horrible to me. And us. And you.
Yeah.
What?
Leave it where it lay, my friends. Leave it where it lay. Yeah, we do love our
yes.
patrons.
Mhm.
Honest,
We do.
If you want to be loved by me,
And
intimately,
especially me.
but more Nick and Jesse, head to patreon.com/XboxEra. We are looking to do more shows. We just did our first episode of Thanks I Hate It, where Nick
Yeah.
played Sea of Thieves. That's Patreon
I
exclusive
played
from
Sea
the
of
fan
Thieves.
tier and above.
Yep.
Go check it out. We appreciate
Me
you.
and Jesse did a retro hangouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've done a Halo one.
Did that go up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I went up the next day. It took 16 hours to process the video.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't even super long. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's only an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, YouTube takes some time lately.
Weird. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
there's our retro hangouts. That's cool. I haven't watched it yet.
It's fun.
You were in it.
Huh?
You were in it.
Yeah, I know. I like watching myself.
Oh, that makes
Um,
actually a lot of sense from what we
Yeah.
know of you.
But the most important perk outside of the movie podcast, outside of retro hangouts, outside of Thanks I Hate It, outside of all the stuff we offer in Patreon, the most important perk is getting to ask us questions that we read out on the show. And we've already been through some that were related to the topic we were on, because it wouldn't have been fair to read those questions now and be like, we already spoke about that.
Yeah,
Bad luck.
because we love our patrons.
So we tried to read them out at the time. So these are now the questions that are unrelated to the topics we were talking about, and we will now go through those. So the first one, which is from the form, not forum, form, CJAD93.
Hey, it was already on.
CJ93.
Beautiful.
Hi, gents. Hope you've all had a good week. I've been seriously under the weather for the last week, but last weekend I finally finished the story in Red Dead 2 off, a mere 6 years after originally starting.
Wow.
Congratulations. And also commiserations, because you played Red Dead 2. My question for you guys this week is, what is the longest period of time you've had between starting a game and finishing it? Hope you all have a fantastic week, and thank goodness January is finally over. Ooh, longest time between starting
You want to know
and
mine?
finishing.
Red Dead Redemption 2, not because I didn't like it. I loved it. I was getting near the end, and then it all got spoiled on YouTube, and it just pissed me off so much I didn't come back to it for a couple years. But I had like 75 hours into that game. Absolutely loved it. Knowing plays a lot better on PC. It has way too much input latency on controller, on console. But I was right there at the first end because there is an epilogue, like in many Westerns, and both the end and the epilogue end were both ruined for me, thanks to YouTube thumbnails, and it made me very sad.
I'm trying to think my longest between
While you're
starting and
thinking, I feel like my longest between starting and finishing was the last modern Tomb Raider game, because I started it.
Really?
Yeah, I started it, and I like all of them, and I 100%ed the first one, if memory serves. I got all the collectibles and all that stuff. I did most of the stuff in the second one, and the third one, like, you know how I feel about open world games. I got to the big settlement hidden in the valley kind of thing, and I was like, oh fuck me, look at all these icons, and it just wore me out. But I was told by someone like a year and a half later, go back and finish it. It's good fun. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to golden path and ignore all the extra stuff, and I did, and I finished it. So about a year and a half, I think, from memory.
God, I honestly can't, because there's so many games I don't finish.
GoldenEye.
No, GoldenEye I finished back in the day.
I'm joking.
Even back in the day on 64, I finished it. I'm trying to think. What did I go back to years later and actually complete? God, I legitimately can't think of one right now. We'd be here for hours while I try and think of it. It might be like an old 16-bit game or something that I just never finished back then and then played now more recently and finally finished. I don't know. It'd be years and years for me. Years and years. But I apologize. I can't actually answer the question properly because I can't think of one.
You finish all your games.
Sorry?
You finish all your games. That's the answer.
I
Definitely
don't finish. I basically don't finish any of my games. It's very rare. There's just too many. There's too many games. And the problem is Fortnite and Rocket League keep taking me away from everything. That's the issue. Oh, I like this next community question from LeeLayfield. I'm not going to read that first part. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all having a great week. Recently, Pokemon Pocket added trading to the game. Hell yeah. Don't worry. I've already used it. But the mechanics around it have been pretty frustrating for most players, including me. It's really taken away from my enjoyment of the game. That got me thinking, has a game ever introduced or launched with a feature mechanic that actually made the experience worse for you? For example, I remember the zero gravity sections in Dead Space on the 360 being more frustrating than fun. Your thoughts?
Yes. Ninja Gaiden Black, the introduction of underwater sequences. On the original Ninja Gaiden, they controlled even worse than the camera does, to the point where I was just like,
It's still bad in 2, the way it works.
It is.
But it is.
Yeah,
I reviewed Black. I remember it's even worse.
It's very painful. Yeah, definitely that one rings a strong memory.
Isn't he referring to something that comes in after launch?
No. Introduced or launched with a feature mechanic that made
Dead
the
Space
experience
had
better.
it
It launched with that. I just didn't encounter it.
They
until
fixed
halfway
it in the
through
Dead
game.
Space remake. It's actually very fun to fly around on that one.
Oh, okay. He's right about Pokemon trading. Like the Pokemon trading card game, I was wondering how they were going to implement trading. And the way they've done it, it's one of those situations where I get why they've done it the way they've done it, because they don't want everyone just like giving each other whatever cards to complete everyone's sets, and then everyone's got the set and no one plays it anymore.
Yeah.
The way they've done it now, though, I would argue is in the opposite direction, where they make it's a system that encourages you to grind even more than before. Like, so you've got to be able to trade in the Pokemon trading card game, you've got to build up trading tokens. To build up trading tokens, you have to effectively sell doubles of really good cards to get those tokens. But you've got to have at least 3 of those cards. But to get triples of really good cards, you're going to have to like keep grinding away and opening up packs of and hoping you get doubles and triples of all these cards so that you can then trade them.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
Oh my God, it's a pain in the ass. Like I've managed to get 3 cards. Like, so I've got the full set of the Mystical Island one. I've got the full set. I'm 4 cards away from the base set now. I just got Articuno EX. I got Charizard EX, Pikachu EX. I've got like 4 cards left to complete the original base set. And now the new sets have come out. But it's now, I've got no trading credits left. And I've now got to build up doubles of cards to get trading credits to then be able to trade with people.
Yeah, I'm glad I have no interest in it. Although I will say, I saw it actually, weirdly enough, that this came up. I saw it for the first time today, like on a phone. And I was like, and I have to admit, I have no interest, but I think the way that the animations and everything and the way it's presented is gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
it's a really good presentation on it, at least. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Also, Jesse is now like in hell mode, like it's
Yeah.
ultimate.
Yeah, he's also muted.
Pokemon is the original microtransaction hell, but people are okay with it because they grew up with it.
I haven't spent any money on
Good for you.
Pokemon trading card game. I've not spent a cent on it, and I have almost the full first 2 sets. So
Now it's hell mode.
they've done it. They have executed it in a way where you can get away with not spending any money. Having said that, the trading now encourages more grinding, which is a bit annoying. But what do you do? Yeah. Okay.
An incredibly long one.
Game pricing. So the
love
next
this
question is from SonicSVTFocus. Again, haven't heard from them in a while.
I love this question.
Here's a few things I've seen in the gaming community recently about the price of games that confuses me. South of Midnight, $40. Game is too cheap, so it must be short and won't even be worth $40, so I don't want to play it. Concord, $40. Game is too expensive. Live service should be free, so I don't want to play it. I don't care if I get more gameplay than a single-player game. Live service game skin, $25. Sweet, I'll pay that to make my character look like Hello Kitty. Plethora of new AAA games, $70. That's way too expensive for a full game. I wish there was a way for me to play these games for a lower price. GTA 6, room at $100. I'll definitely pay $100 for GTA. Game Pass Ultimate, $20 monthly for hundreds of games and new releases day one. Critiqued by some gaming journalists as not good value at the current price. Those same gaming journalists, please sign up for our Patreon at $10 a month to get no ads and a daily show. I know value is determined by each person, but some of these situations with the price people are willing to pay or not pay is crazy. What do you think are proper game price points that would balance out benefiting the publisher and also being fair price for the consumer? Are free live service games to blame for the confusion about what really constitutes good value in gaming? No.
Not
that
to blame.
I'll push back on.
But they
yes,
do
that I'll
help.
push. Well, no, because look at me. Like, I'm tight with a lot of games, but then I'll go and spend $30 on a Fortnite skin.
Yeah.
But the problem, and I completely agree with him, because I've also been one of those people that thinks technically games should get more expensive because gaming budgets have blown out of control, but we expect game prices to stay the same. You can find old Toys R Us catalogs where Super Nintendo games were $95 or $90.
Wow.
Back in the 90s. So gaming is cheaper than it's ever been. That's just a fact. Gaming is cheaper than it has ever been.
Yeah.
But in the end, just like looks are in the eye of the beholder, so is value. So in the end,
It doesn't even matter.
well, look at Prince of Persia.
Yep. $10
Prince
too
of
much, wasn't it?
To you,
No.
So-
I would have paid that. It's a great game.
do you know what I mean? Like, Prince of Persia sold allegedly 1.3 million copies. Allegedly. And a lot of people instantly went to the price point. Even I thought it was probably a touch too expensive for what it was. and that probably hurt the game a little bit. South of Midnight, 40. Oh, it must be. Yeah, I see that argument. What was the other Xbox game that copped that same criticism?
Hellblade.
Was it Hellblade?
Yeah, Hellblade was 50.
Yeah,
Claire
and everyone
Obscure
was like,
Expedition 33 is 50, and people are now wondering, how long is it going to be? They're like, probably roughly 40 hours. I'm like, oh shit, okay, never mind.
And to me, I don't blame free-to-play games. I blame bloated AAA games.
Yes.
That's what
30 to 40 hours is what they said, I think.
I find the conversation around value to be an interesting one when it comes to games, because you'll see people advocating to go to the cinema and stuff, and it's like fucking stupid money. And it's 2 hours and it's done.
Then it's done.
And half of that money you're pissing out later. Whereas so I guess it's hard to quantify, right? I think I look at some smaller games that are like $40, like South of Midnight, and I know from what I've seen of that game thus far, that's going to be a game that's going to hit for me. That's gonna be
Mega
my
Boost.
kind of thing.
We got to
That's
Mega Boost
worth
it.
$40. Yeah, got to Mega Boost it up the wazoo.
Boost it.
Whereas I also know that GTA 6, $100, I know that I won't ever complete that game. I never completed. I got to the last mission on 4, and I never completed 5. And I just.
And the whole $100 thing
it's
was one guy hoping.
I know. It's just as an example. But yes, it's an odd one. It doesn't make any
Ubisoft
sense.
games
You're
haven't been
absolutely
that
right.
bloated, actually. Valhalla was, but most of the others have not been. Super chat.
Kevin S. Hey, Kevin S., if you're obviously still in chat, are you the same Kevin S. that's in my Discord? Let me know. Kevin S. with the super chat. Is the increased realism in games worth a delay in development? No. Graphics are one thing, but does walking by a curtain and it moving or looting a cupboard in Red Dead 2 versus a menu system like Fallout worth the wait? No, I completely agree.
And
That's the
I
problem.
would say one of the main pushbacks I've seen from developers is it's not really the graphics or the realism that's making everything take so long. It's really bad management.
Yeah.
It's that too, but it's that
like,
realism
it's built
that's
into
blowing budgets out of control.
That realism's kind of built into the engines now, though. They don't have to do that much to make that type of stuff happen. It really, the main thing they say, if you have this hyper focus on it, but even Red Dead Redemption 2 was made in like 3 years. They were working on it for 8 years, but the final product was supposedly like a death march for 3 years of just working nonstop because of really bad management. Ubisoft's issue isn't they don't push realism. Their issue is they're going to spend 25 fucking years working on Beyond Good and Evil 2, and it will never be able to recoup its $1 or $2 billion budget. Not because they're spending a ton at once. They're just constantly spending a bunch of money over time. It's really bad management. Like this game took 7 years. When you look at Cyberpunk, they announced it like almost a decade before it came out. But it was like 2.5 years of actual work. Like it's really bad planning and management that is hurting things the most. It's not that pushing 4K and all that stuff doesn't cost. It does. But it wouldn't, like, there are games that look stunning, like Claire Obscure. And it was 4 years of a small studio working properly with their budget in an engine that can just do that shit. Like, so much of it you can make shit look amazing at Nintendo on god-awful hardware. Like, you can do it if you plan and budget and scope correctly.
And talent plays a part in that too.
Yeah, massive one.
But yeah, the pricing thing is, I mean, it's all related, isn't it? Even that budget stuff, it's all related because that's why they want to charge more, because the budgets are blowing out of control.
And that's the one place where Microsoft is now so big that they are one of the only AAAs who really can hit every price point. They've got free to play, they've got paid multiplayer, they've got paid on like MMOs, they've got all different size budgets of games. They've got, Towerborn and all these, they go up. You can look at every price point essentially, and they've got something there. And they're one of the only ones built for that because of having that subscription service and just being eventually everywhere with it.
Yep. Okay. Next question. Jesse, brother.
Mm.
Oh shit, it moved for me. Happy podcast 248, my lovely observable universe chums. Jeremy,
Hey.
sorry, Jess.
He did.
Let me just
Parris
tell you.
did apologize profusely on Twitter for that.
Oh, did he?
I told Jeremy
Only because
it
you
was
made
okay.
a big bloody deal about it, you big sissy Jeremy Pants.
Well, Jeremy was on the stream. I had to, say apologize for him. He wasn't supposed to be here.
Let me just tell you. Last week's What Year, My Dear, was your magnum opus, as was your Cockney British bruv impression for the start of your Sniper Elite Resistance review. What happened last week with...
All the ridiculous ports from id.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yes.
So frustrating.
Yes. Speaking of British bruvs, this week's question is for John. Lord Clark, now that China's DeepSeek AI tech has embarrassed NVIDIA and American tech assholes like Zuckerberg and wannabe Americans like Elon fuckface with how much better their way of using CPUs and GPUs is, do you feel better about not yet owning an overpriced 5090?
Yeah, I don't care about the 59.
You know what's crazy? That was after everyone losing their shit about how great the 50 series look. It's all bad. It's been a horrible paper launch. Like even the 5080, everyone's like, that's a 5070 Ti. That's not even a 5080. So, and the 5080 cannot match the 4090. So how the hell is a 5070 going to be matching the 4090 like they said, or outperforming it? Like it was all bullshit.
I'm quite happy with what I've got and will be for some time.
You'll be good. You will be fine
Does that mean-
with that for 5 to 8 years.
So does that mean I can get a 4090 then and be fine?
No, the prices are all super high because everyone's like, we don't need the 50 series.
Yep.
So if you can find one, sure, but it costs the same to buy it now as it did at launch almost.
Oh, okay. All right. Next question.
75 people just dropped off the stream.
Hytham G. Do you gents have a favorite candy and chocolate? For me, it's Milky Way bar, Reese's peanut butter cup, M&M's, Skittles, Milky Bar, Hershey bar, Musketeers, gum, Tic Tac, Jawbreakers, Butterfinger, Caramello, and so on and so
That's
forth.
not a favorite. That's with everyone you've ever had.
Sorry? Yeah. Yes. Have you gents been with your family to a fair that's like Hershey Park or been to Hershey Park before? What the hell is Hershey Park?
I presume it's like a fun fair.
It's like going to Wonka. You end up all dead.
I've
My
never been to Hershey Park.
favorite chocolate / sweet. Ooh.
Yeah, favorite candy or chocolate. Ooh, that's tough. That's.
I mean, we're
tough.
lucky because, and I saw this on QI. There is an ingredient in American chocolate.
No,
that
there is
also
an
one of the key
ingredient.
ingredients.
There is an ingredient in
Don't interrupt
Hershey's.
me, American. I'm
It's
talking about
not
your shitty
American
chocolate.
chocolate. It's Hershey's.
It is American chocolate.
No, it's Hershey's
Yes.
chocolate. Hershey's
No,
is
no,
not
let me
American.
explain.
It's one brand.
It's used predominantly in American branded chocolate, and it's
Hershey's.
the same chemical that is in vomit.
Yep, just in Hershey's.
I'm not joking. This is true fact.
What?
And the reason it's added is because it's a great preservative because of the longer distance that the chocolate has to
Butyric
travel to
acid.
ship around the world. Yeah, it's a type of acid, and it's the main.
So
Hershey's only. It's only Hershey's. It's
So
not
what you're
American chocolate.
Americans like
So-
eating vomit, is what I'm saying.
yeah. So what you're saying is that when
Little
I
vomit
eat American
munchers.
chocolate, I'm just eating vomit.
If
You're
you
eating an
if
ingredient
you
of
eat
vomit.
Hershey's chocolate.
No. I'm just eating vomit.
I'm gonna throw out a Whisper Gold. I love a Whisper Gold.
I've never had a Whisper Gold. What's a Whisper Gold?
It's a Whisper, which is bubbly chocolate, which is a little bit like Nestle's Aero, but it's
Oh yeah, that's an
but it's
arrow.
got
When you
caramel.
said bubbly.
yeah.
Okay.
But also Galaxy chocolate is really good. You know,
I mean,
okay, crispy
Tim Tam,
M&Ms. Crispy
the Tim
M&Ms.
Tam is. I mean, you all know how good the Tim Tam is.
Tim Tam's good.
I love Turkish Delight, Cadbury Turkish Delight, or is it Nestle? I can't remember which one it is. One of them makes Turkish Delight.
I would go with this one. Tony's Choco Lonely is my
Good
favorite
choice.
chocolate bar.
Yeah.
It's very
They're
good.
good chocolate.
Yeah.
Very good.
They're from
Very
all
good.
over.
Oh no, it's not them. It's no, it's not Cadbury either. I can't remember who makes the Turkish delight here. Oh, it's Fries. It's Fries Turkish delight. That's really nice. Tim Tam is hard to go past. I love dark chocolate. Anything that comes in dark is great.
Lindor's.
And dark chocolates.
Lindor's
dark
lovely,
chocolate's
yummy
also
chocolates.
yes. Dark chocolate's also better for you.
Unless you're a dog.
Why?
Dark chocolate is poisonous to dogs. Milk chocolate is just unhealthy.
I thought it was the other way
really?
around,
Okay.
but okay.
No, the more cacao in it, the worse for dogs.
Gotcha.
Oh, right.
So milk
okay.
chocolate, bad because it's full of sugar, but dark chocolate can legitimately shut down internal organs.
I thought I thought you just said more cow equals bad. Dark chocolate has less cow,
No.
as in milk. No?
I don't know. You're not asking me.
I'm so
asking him, aren't you?
confused.
Cacao. Cacao. Not moo
Yeah,
cow.
cacao
Cacao.
is in dark.
Cacao, as in cocoa.
No, it's not cocoa. It's cacao in dark
Cacao.
chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, John.
Food saying like milk.
No, I would have gone. I would have
The
said
cow- Is it
Cocoa
a
is a
cow?
different thing. Cocoa is a different thing. To cacao. Cacao is the key ingredient of dark chocolate. Yeah, it's hard for me to go past a Tim Tam, but there's so many. Like, yeah, white chocolate's not bad. As I've gotten older, Hytham, I've grown to like white chocolate a lot more than I used to. But there's so many amazing chocolates.
Hmm.
Okay.
never go wrong with a Kit Kat.
Yeah, Kit Kats are great too. They're great as well. Okay, next question is from Hugh. Howdy, fellas. I have thought of another potential game for you guys. Guess the game quote. I actually don't mind this as an idea. Stop right there, criminal scum. What's that from?
So there was Scrolls.
Which one?
Is it?
I'm going to go with Oblivion.
Yeah, because I'd already put it up, and you would
Okay.
probably click into it, you cheater. But it was.
Wake me when you need me. That's Halo. Halo 3 or 2? 3. Okay, 3. Because I'm seeing a blurry. I'm seeing the blur.
Yep.
We both said a lot of things that you're going to regret. But I
Portal.
think we can put our differences behind us. For science, you monster.
You monster.
But which portal?
It's Portal 2.
Yes.
Because I've been recently playing Portal 2. It's fun.
Some trees flourish, others die. Some cattle grow strong, others are taken by wolves. Some men are born rich enough and dumb enough to enjoy their lives. Ain't nothing fair. The fuck is that from?
Sounds cowboyish. Cattle.
It does, because there's cattle, but I don't know. What's that, Red Dead?
Yes, it was Red Dead 1. You got right.
Oh, really?
There you go.
Well, he said cattle. It's a cowboy. The only cowboy game I know of is Red Dead.
Gayum.
Flores. What?
You said gay.
Did
Said
I?
it- Yeah.
Oh,
You're now canceled.
Oh, God.
Next question.
Am I?
No.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. That's
Duke
Duke
Nukem 3D.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's like fucking. That's iconic. I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow to the knee. That's Skyrim,
Mario
isn't it?
Odyssey.
Isn't that Skyrim?
No, it's Mario Odyssey.
Arrow to the knee?
Yeah.
Nah. Isn't that Skyrim?
Yes.
Arrow to the knee. I just know the meme. The arrow to the knee meme.
That is it. I like that. It's a good idea. That's a good
That
idea.
isn't a bad idea for a game show to add into the mix.
But you would really struggle with it.
I would, because there's so many big name games that I don't play.
And cutscenes that you just skip where all of this shit
Oh,
would be
yeah.
And
said.
skip so
modern
many
games,
cutscenes.
like, what's a knowable quote? They're all really easy for the most part. You start dipping
Would
into
you-
the Red Deads, you guys aren't going to know them.
Yeah, yeah. Would you kindly? Oh boy, greatest. Okay. Next question. Last question. Yes. Good old Collingwood. White Rabbits, John, Nick, and Jesse. My question is for Jesse. Congratulations on XboxEra being selected as top critic on OpenCritic. That's a great honor and deserving but I assume of, the hard play you have all been doing. Jesse, you have mentioned that people should read the critics they feel most in touch with. Who are the critics that you like reading, and why do they resonate with you?
That's a good question.
I feel put on spot,
Come on.
put on blast.
Who do you read?
I read Changus, and I read John, and I read Fairy. But no, for outside of Xbox era, Tie Guy Travis is really good. He does the Bitcast with Seasoned Gaming, and he does lots and lots of reviews now on IGN. Even if I don't, like, we've reviewed the same stuff multiple times and felt different ways about them, but it's always interesting to read why he felt a certain way. And again, a lot of times it just comes down to personal preference on how much you like or dislike something, which is why people should always read the review and not look at the score, because the score is an indicator of what that one person thought for that one game experience. Outside of that, I used to watch ACG's stuff. God, trying to remember exact names and places. For all the shit they get, IGN's reviews are normally pretty good. They end up having a pretty big team that covers a lot of stuff, and people will lump them all together as one person, and they're not. They're like sometimes upwards of 20 different people over the years recently. So I'd say, for just off the top of my head, someone I can think of immediately, Tie Guy Travis would be the one I every time I see he has reviewed something, I will read it.
But if you want to find out about a scrolling beat 'em up, there's only one guy to read.
There's one guy who will spend one day right before embargo is due. His name is Ursel. Jesus fucking Christ, please get stuff done this weekend. But for scrolling beat 'em ups, it's Nick.
Only reviews you should be reading and or watching for scrolling beat 'em ups, to the point where everything I point out gets patched into the games later. Because, mate, I fucking analyze the fuck out of that shit. I'm the maestro of scrolling beat 'em up reviews. The only source. But yes.
And by the way, John,
I'm terrible for reviews.
I was thinking, maybe we can mention that thing you're going to be doing, but we can't because I never got an answer. It's still right. It's still right on their Steam page for the game.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just there. If you go look at a certain Xbox game coming out in April, there's a thing it says.
Yeah.
It's not a scrolling beat 'em up Rayoid, so we'll see if Nick will review the new Streets of Rage. I'm gonna guess yes.
Yeah, of course I will. Yeah, Streets of Rage. It's like my franchise. Bloody oath, I'll be reviewing. And it is a scrolling beat 'em up.
Is it? I thought they were on like a room. Oh, it was more 3D-ish though.
Well, I reviewed Sifu.
Yeah. With the first minute of your video being just like quiet walking and the retention.
Yeah, but how good did it look though?
It looked cool, but the retention was just like.
Nah, it was so cool.
It was
such a good.
It's just people. Nobody has an attention span anymore.
Oh well.
Sorry, what?
That's that fucking YouTube kids generation. That's the YouTube generation.
Oh, they're ticking and talking.
And fucking TikToks and Vine. And Vine was good though. Vine was very funny. But that's it. That's the end of the show.
It is indeed. And what a in-depth show it is. Racking up a healthy 3.5 hours of good discussion with a wonderful community. So big thank you to all of our
2 topics.
Big thank you to the XboxEra community and our wonderful Patreon and YouTube members for hanging out, chit-chatting, engaging with each other, and remaining polite and non-troll-like in the chat. Big thank you to everybody for all the super chats, Assassin for all of the memberships and all that other lovely stuff.
Yeah, I know. So many super chats.
We will be back on Tuesday with more of headlines.
I already have 7 things in there, John. There's always news. The following week, though, while you are gone, we'll have Bearded John on. He should be there. But so next week's headlines, normal time. Following week's headlines will be 2 hours later.
There you go. And
so you're not on? Are you not on next week's podcast?
No, I'm on next week's podcast.
Yeah, flying out the early the
week.
Out
Monday.
Yeah.
So
going to Dice.
I'll be on next week's pod. And keep an eye out on XboxEra.com on I want to say Monday for some stuff.
On a day next week.
Yeah, next week Monday.
We have multiple things coming early in the week, before
Yes.
games literally are out at the normal time
That's-
you'd expect.
That's true. So
And we should be doing a Sick and Nick's Flicks next week.
yes.
It would be Nosferatu and one other thing we have to think of.
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen Nosferatu
I haven't yet. I will try and
I
watch
have.
it soon.
on a streaming service.
Yeah. Streaming services. Just log in, watch your films. Streaming services are great like that. We all love them.
They are.
Lovely stuff. Anyways, be good to each other out there, folks. See you next time.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Today has no meaning. He's alone and anonymous. Written in his cells, he's got the marks of a genius. I'm looking for this man to sell him to other men, to sell him to other men, to make us rich and famous. Walking up the target. Do you break the line? Free slowly spread the net, and for you catch the man. You catch the man. I'm looking for this man to sell him to other men.
Oh, hey, everyone that's still alive. About Avowed, I can't say anything, sorry.
I'm looking for this man who knows news of the game, who's able to forget them, to realize my aim.
I mean, unless you guys are still actually here.
Do you
Says there's 126 of you.
break the line, spread the net, catch the man? Love the target, break the line, spread the net, catch the man.
Hey, Kay Asante. All right, thank you, everyone. See you on Tuesday. I'm going to go take a break. No, I'm not. I'm going to go play more Avowed. Bye.